Right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Renison Jeffrey. This is the Workers' Rights Platform. Tonight is the Justice Advocates Program, of course, with Candace Edwards, Mr. Wayne Alonzo from Tobago. I know I would have been here earlier, but at the same time, I would have forget this whole thing all entirely with this whole show, because this announcement of election would have paralyzed the whole of Trinidad and Tobago. But without further ado, there are some technical work that I must do within the background. So at this point in time, I will turn you over to the person who does work on the ground, the stalwart, the person that put Stuart Young in the place, that shut up Roger Monroe for the people at Sandy Grande. That person is Candace Edwards. Candace Edwards, go ahead.
Pleasant good night to the whole of Trinidad and Tobago. Welcome. I am Candace Edwards, and welcome to the Workers' Rights 868 platform, together with the Justice Advocate Program, where we shine a light on human rights issues and give a voice to the voiceless. We have a special guest tonight, again, Mr. Wayne Alonzo. And tonight we are here to talk about this surprise snap election that our Prime Minister would have called Mr. Stuart Young. And that would have came to a shock to some of the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. But most people, they was expecting anything from this gentleman. And to me, I consider that to be a disrespect and also a strategy. And again, as I always say, these people, this PNM government is playing with the lives of the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. Whether some of you all want to agree with me or some of you all don't want to agree with me, that is how it is. And we are tonight on the Workers' Rights Platform and the Justice Advocate Platform. We are calling it as it is. These people are playing with our livelihood. You understand me? These people, it's like they don't have a sense of direction. And tonight, we are here to speak on this. Our lines are going to be open for you all to call you and voice your opinion. This is not about party. This is about the needs and the wants of the people. And tonight, my brothers and sisters, we all have to come together under one umbrella and voice our opinion. This is not about the 1%. This is about the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. And I personally, I find that move to be a very unjust move. As the Prime Minister steps down and hands over the mantle to Mr. Stuart Young, he decides to cut. Now, as I always tell people, every decision our past Prime Minister makes is always some plan and some strategy behind it. These people are playing with my life and your lives, the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago and our generations to come lives. This is not chess. This is not draft. This is not a game. This is not a cricket game nor a football game. It's our lives they have in the palm of their hands and they are playing with it. They continue to put party in front of the people. Why continue to do that? So now is the time. You and I have to stand up, united, and let these people know enough is enough. It's always a plan. It's always some strategy. And I don't know why they're continuing to do that to the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. Now he would have appointed Stuart Young as the Prime Minister, a man who has no respect for nobody, a man who has no respect for the opposition leader as well. You all would have seen it on camera when he would have disrespected the woman. You all would have seen when I, as a normal citizen, would have went to them, reach out to them to find out what they have in store for the youths. of Coco Sandy Grande, and I was met with disgust, and they walked off on me. That is somebody. All you want to represent all you. That is a person all you want to be all your prime minister. Look at what they did. Call a snap election in a snap. It's really a snap in truth. A couple days after he was sworn in as the prime minister. And I really want to hear the views, some of all your views. Do hope that the lines will be open tonight, Mr. Renison, so that people can call in from all over. The people that,
Yes.
right, the people that have, that is, I'm so angry. I'm coming up the road in the max here and I'm hot. I'm ready to go live by myself. But my phone battery died, so I had to wait until I reach home. Because thousands of people keep sending this message to me. Snap election, the 28th of next month. Who does that? Why, how dare you? They're playing chess with our lives. They are playing chess with the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago lives. So our lives don't matter. Our livelihood, our well-being lives don't matter. These people don't care about money anymore. It's about power because they have the money. It's about power. And whilst we are being left out and being stranded over the years, it's 9+ years, we have been neglected. They come and call a snap election, just like that, abrupt. And they just throw that on all their chest and all they're supposed to deal with that. It's always some strategy, it's always some plan with this PNM government. They have done enough, and it's about time we, the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, stand up and say, here, what's going on? We fed up. Don't just sit down in all your home and say, all you not go and vote because all you don't get nothing. Now is the time for you to stand up to get something, to see about all your families. Food prices going up. What about we, the poor man on the ground who cannot even look at the prices of material to build a house? Everything gone up. Everything gone up in Trinidad and Tobago, and these people are not addressing these problems. Don't talk about crime. The crime continues to spiral until we have crime where you're finding people head in box. Imagine that. They want to open up the borders to the Venezuelans, and I have nothing against Venezuelans, but they want to open up the borders so that the Venezuelans and they can come in and give them citizenship so that there's a strategy they just use so that they can get more votes. Our country done hard already. Our country done hard. We cannot even afford to take care of our own, but only opening up all their borders and inviting other people to come in to put more strain on the economy. So our hard-earned taxpayers' money, right? Where we can't even afford to buy medication to take care of our families or to even get in the hospital. That's another stretch. So nothing from nothing, leave nothing. And in the height of an election time, they would have given themselves a hefty salary. Whilst we, the citizens, the country under strain, and they're telling you and me tighten with belts. Let me tell all you something, Trinidad and Tobago, my brothers and my sisters, East Indian and Africans, now is not the time for us to be divided. Now is not the time for us to study race. Now is the time to study our well-being and our future generation and what lies ahead for them. What lies ahead for them, because this thing has me so angry. And to them it's a big joke. The minute they get their whole Alibaba and his whole bunch of 40 thieves organized and they pick whoever they're giving who is commissioner, who is this, who is attorney general, who is whatever, they call a snap election. All you see, that was a plan all along. And it's always some strategy, and they're not putting the people first. Now, tonight, I can't wait to open up the lines. I cannot wait to open up the lines to hear some of your thoughts about this whole situation. Because you see me here sitting here and I'm hot. I am so angry. Now, plenty of people would have said, if they call a snap election in the morning, no. No, I understand, Because first we want them out, So now, we the people have to sit down and think, Trinidad and Tobago, you all have to think about what all you're doing. Think about what all you're doing. Because this government show you clearly it is not about you and I. It is definitely not about you and I, the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. It's about them. So if we continue to put these people first, if we, the citizens, continue to listen to these people and say party before people, no, it's the other way around. No, we have to put our foot down and say enough is enough. So tonight, I see Mr. Wayne Alonso. Pleasant night, sir. Are you hearing me?
Hi, Candice, Mr. Edison, are you guys hearing me?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Because I'm having some technical issues here. Are you hearing me?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Yes, we are
Are
hearing
you
you.
hearing me?
Yes, we are hearing you, but we're not seeing.
Hello? Are you hearing me? We are having a bit of technical difficulty here tonight. I don't know.
When we really have to make some personal sacrifices.
Yes.
I said in another place last week.
I'm getting the amount of people calling my phone and sending messages
What's
to
going on
ask
in this
me, Candace,
country?
what is really going on?
And
I didn't even get a chance to send a message on the
the
TikTok
And
telling
it's
them
just
the
now, just
don't
now,
call
resultant
me at
Candice.
this hour because
factor
they know I
is
usually don't be on at
the
this hour.
change is
Are
the
you hearing
operative
me,
word here.
Mr. Alonso?
The word change. If we don't make an effort to change the direction in which this country going, we are all doomed. And I keep saying to people, this change is not about who and what they do and what they didn't do. This change has to be a whole vision, a spiritual vision for the direction of this country. We all know what the PNM offers. We have all been part of the PNM. We understand the modus operandi of the PNM. And what we were hoping and looking for was more substantive kinds of policy that would be all inclusive, if not to all, but to the majority of citizens in this country. And the fact that we had 9 years to truly examine where we are going, and more so having the opportunity within the last week of this PNM government, some of the actions and statements that were made, it is clear that we can see the tunnel is very dark. There is no inkling of light at the end of that tunnel because of some of the statements that were made within the last week. And so, I'm happy that Candice talked about the people calling in, because we need to hear persons' views as to their thoughts on where they think this government has placed them in terms of priority and consideration. Just looking at some of the videos and the photos coming out of this last convention, or whatever they called it, at Woodford Square, one asks the question, is there a place for me and my representative on that stage? When you look at a community or a constituency like Toko Sangre Grande, where you have one member of parliament who does not qualify to have a substantive position in the cabinet of Trinidad and Tobago, where he can have some authority to work for the people of his constituency, and he has been shunned again, all over again. You ask yourself, what is the real reason for placing a neophyte, a person who has no inkling of politics? What is the reason for giving him an opportunity to serve this large constituency, this agriculture constituency, this constituency that has a high level of poverty. And over the last 5 years, instead of some sense of progress, what we are seeing and hearing is where they are literally bribing their way into government again. I have been around Sangre Grande within the last 24 hours, and some of the stories coming out is just so upsetting. It is so, discouraging that persons who this man has not spoken to for years, who he has made issue with, he's now picking up the phone and calling them and begging them, please, all you come on in. Look, I have a work for all you. There's a contract here and a contract there. Now, I understand how the PNM operate. So they starve you for 4.5 years, and we are so hungry that we find whatever we get, we will take. So within the last 6 months, and now we can see we don't have 6 months, but 6 weeks. 6 weeks. So it means, therefore, that contract that was offered to you for at least who gives a person a 3-month contract in the first place? Not even CPEP contractors get 3 months contract. The minimum is 3 years. But even if you give them a 3-month contract, the election that was called is now giving you 6 weeks. And the reason why you were given that 3-month contract is with the promise that if we get back into government, 3 months will be extended. And so it is a form of bribing people into voting for them with the hope that they will win so that you can feel assured that it will continue. And we all know that that don't happen because they will find all the right reason to tell you why they cannot continue the contract. And so it is very, very upsetting how, according to Candice, they are playing with people's lives. SOS, same old shoe on a different 5 years. Same old shoe on a different 5 years. And you know what is interesting is that this PNM government, under Patrick Manning, initiated so many programs in terms of education. We have GATE. We have all these other educational programs where citizens have been educated up to master's and in some cases doctorate degrees in this country. This country has allowed a lot of people to have a high level of intelligence. And this is how you treat us. You treat us as though we are so foolish that you can just bring me in, give me a little work, and expect me to give you my vote for another 5 years to fool me and to hurt me and to insult me, as we have seen in that video in the Baka Northeastern settlement. This is what they are saying to you, the people, that you are so stupid. I remember going to a screening 5 years ago, and I remember when there was some haggling in Chaguanas, and a question was asked by a super minister in this present government. Aren't you concerned that if you don't give the people what they want, they're not going to vote? And the response by that senior super minister was, don't worry, it's the PNM. Once everything's settled, they're going to go back and vote. And I listened to that and I said, if 5 years ago they were taking us for granted like that, now we are seeing an open and overt decisions that is really, really looking at us as though we are the ultimate fools in the room. There's so much content to talk around that. Education. Why have they not given us a change in the education system? Does people really understand that they still maintain a 30 percentile rate so that one can move from a primary school into a secondary school? 30 percentile in a primary school does not give one a sense of academic that they can move on, because once they get into high school, the standard is higher. We have children who have failed in primary school that got promoted to high school. And so what happens? The child goes to high school, they get into the class, and they realize that they cannot meet the grade. You know what happened with that child? that child goes outside the class. This is data. This is experience that we have seen around the country that is increasing all the fights and the marijuana and the sex, all the madness. So the school has now become the first port for breeding criminals in Trinidad. And who it is? It is us, the PNM voters. And so what do? You bring up a group, a high percentage of non-educated people who will only be able to get jobs in fast food outlet. And the biggest job now in Trinidad is security. Security. But let's examine security.
And
The security
Win
firms are
Alonso,
asking persons to dedicate minimally 12 hours of work per day. So you either work from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. or 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. Let's take a worker coming from Stoko Sangre Grande, and he's posted in a school or a supermarket or some government agencies.
hello. Well, at the same time, people, my name is Renison Jeffrey. This is a live broadcast that is taking place here. At this point in time, we are having technical difficulties, but the numbers are there on the screen. It is 3332176. This is a live broadcast. You could call in live and give a comment. Yes, you're back on. We are now explaining to the live audience that this is a call-in broadcast, and you could share your views concerning what is taking place here. We are currently talking about the election issue in Trinidad and Tobago. Now, Mr. Wayne Alonso have a huge history in which he's talking about the build-up as to where we are at this point in time. So I still turning over back the mic to Mr. Wayne Alonso. Candace, are you there? Are you hearing me? Hello? Mr. Edwards? Candace is there on the screen and I'm here.
Seems like we're still having some technical difficulties. But this is what happens with live and technology, right? But are you hearing me, Renison?
Of course, I am hearing you.
Yes, I'm hearing.
Okay.
Candace, are you hearing me?
So
are you hearing?
I'm here.
You hearing, Candace?
Should I continue?
Candace?
Yes,
Well, we having some issues. Go ahead, Mr. Alonso.
Yeah. So I'm creating a prelude to where we are now.
Yes, I'm hearing you.
In terms of workers, in terms of citizens being set up to maintain a type of status quo in Trinidad and Tobago, where they are probably deliberately and intentionally, by virtue of policies, keeping a sizable percentage of our population to be able to provide our sweat and blood to a certain percentage or a certain demographic, very minute demographic of persons in Trinidad, which are primary employers of the fast food business, the security business, and the supermarket business. They are the ones that stand to benefit from our lack of education. They are the ones that stand to benefit from our socioeconomic demise in our communities. Because what happens is that parent is absent from the home, the child has no supervision, no homework, no nothing, and so there is an automatic cycling of poverty that is taking place in our communities, guaranteeing a pool of workers, which unfortunately comes from vulnerable communities, to be able to feed those industries, the fast food industry, the security industry, supermarket industry. And that is where we are today. So I looked on, interestingly, within the last week, and again, like I said, I'm building up to where we are today, because this is just emergency time. I'm looking on last week, and I'm seeing where two activities took place back to back. One, the opening of an airport, and two, big event in Woodford Square. But in looking at that event in Woodford Square, it was not the kind of event that I have gotten used to. with going out with the PNM, because I did not see the excitement. I did not see persons on the stage or even in the room or on the.
Wow, I don't know at this point in time what is taking place, but at the same time we have a call. We have a call on the line. Good afternoon, caller. What is your contribution here tonight on this platform?
Hello, good night, sir.
Yes, good night.
I now tuned in not too long and I heard you say you're taking calls.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yes.
You getting any feedback?
Yes, sir. No, I ain't getting no feedback at this point in time. We having a little.
I just low my volume. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, what you all actually talking about? Because I heard the Mr. talking on a lot of different issues, and I really ain't catching up. I just don't want to be out of tune with what's going on your program.
Well, what we are really talking about is this election, this snap election, this short period in which Stuart Young would have called the election.
Oh,
And
the snap election. All right, because
right.
I want to talk about that. But how I heard the Mr. talking about different issues now.
Yes. He was given a little history, but go ahead. What is your contribution?
Okay, well, anyhow, the government, as we know, is an illegal government. I know if you all understand that. Internationally, if they go about like that, right, going along and not having elections and voting themselves, people voting them in,
Mm-hmm.
there will be a illegitimate government and the countries in the region wouldn't, recognize them and worldwide. I already hear much people talking about that. So I just want to mention that. So this is why I feel they must be called elections right away because, as I say, they're illegitimate. So, somebody must be talk to them or they catch themselves where the opposition leader had told them that she will put it before the court. So with all the excitement, all the what I should say, all the threats from her to put them before the court, I would say, they decide, look, let's call this thing right away. Or maybe they know all of that and they have everything planned because they can't trust them, that they decide to do their little games on the weekend and call the elections right after they swear in this illegal prime minister. Okay?
So where you say then it was strategic.
I'm not hearing you clearly, and I want to raise the volume.
So what you would have said, the election was strategic. It was called strategically then.
Well, yes.
So what you mean? Are you still? I just hear you on different platforms and things. What do you mean that this government is illegal? What do you mean by that?
All I heard you say is here on other platforms. What I'm saying is the illegitimate. Well, let's look at the international part, right?
Mm-hmm.
They break the democracy with our internal laws. They don't care about that. Okay? Kamala said that she's going to put them before the court concerning that. But really, internationally, they can't do business with a government like that where the people ain't vote them, The people never vote for them. They're not elected by the people. So they can't go anywhere with that. They could only carry on with their foolishness inside of here and bully everybody with their breaking of the democracy. Every law in the democracy, they break. Right? And it was allowed for them to do it. Because the person to handle this with diplomacy never take that step. Every time I talk about her reporting them to the OS, which is the only organization to help us in this mess, because they do not tolerate undemocratic countries in the region, in the Organization of Americas. They are a member in the Inter-American Charter, and they have the laws. So, if they had continued with that, this organization would have called an emergency meeting and let them know they have to call election. And she never wrote to them. They catch her with her underwear down. She never wrote to them to ask for international observers for the election. As it is now, it is too late for all that kind of thing. If she had asked them, we would have had the Carter Foundation coming to observe in the general election. Rowley Buffan say no, CARICOM, and we now seeing from the United States government, right, that CARICOM is very corrupt. You cannot trust them, and I've been telling them these things for years, long time about this CARICOM. Well, they're now seeing it. And what the lady do? Miss Kamala Prasad Bisesa, she sit down.
So
I waiting to see.
So do you believe that the UNC could win election? And that is a very important thing. You feel they could win? Right, she left. I don't know if you, Candice, are you hearing me? Right. Right, Mr. Alonso, are you hearing me?
You know the protocol will dictate, especially in democratic societies, that when a government is officially sworn in, or when a prime minister wins an election through a democratic process, you have the whole world that recognizes that person, sending letters of congratulation. Even in the case where you don't like or you don't care for that person, I mean, it is protocol, standard protocol, that when Donald Trump won the election, that both the government and the opposition would have recognized the new president by sending a letter of congratulation to that person. So there could be a lot of sense and value in that contribution that last caller made, that no one to date has recognized this transfer of power in the manner in which it was done. But in addition to that, Mr. Renison, Trinidad and Tobago, as everybody would know, is viewed upon as the America of the Caribbean. Almost all of the islands in the Caribbean take their cue from Trinidad and Tobago when it comes to precedents as it relates to legal issues, when it comes to business acumen, when it comes to social services. A lot of Caribbean countries look to Trinidad to set the standard, and they follow suit. It means, therefore, that this precedent, they are busy scratching their heads. It's like, is this the Trinidad that we looked up to set a precedent? And is this something that maybe I could probably fashion and follow, where a by the international community, and if you don't send that letter of congratulation recognizing you, it means therefore there is no way they can deal with you. This is what is happening in Venezuela. They deem the Venezuelan election as illegitimate. This is why actions are being taken to get that government out. Could we see a similar move in Trinidad? So I leave it out for now, and probably you can invite another caller.
No. Right, hello, you're hearing me. Well, we having some real fidgeting taking place here. Candice, are you finished setting up your camera? I see that you're together and you're fidgeting around. And
I don't know what's going on. My lights keep cutting off and coming on. I keep 1 minute I hearing you guys, next minute I'm not hearing only. It's like something not right tonight. We're getting a lot of technical difficulties.
Right, so at the same time, to you, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, the show, as I say, must go on. And this is a live broadcast. I see a lot of fidgeting. You know, it is very difficult. I doing all the switching, the moving, the thinging, the camera coming off, all kind of thing. That is it. That is it. I mean, according to Newton's theory, something can go wrong, it will go wrong. So it's a very difficult thing. Anybody that into broadcasting, or you should know the technical things are behind the scene here, controlling the phone and thinking. But at the same time, to you, the people at Trinidad and Tobago, your comments is necessary. So I am looking into the comments here. I'm seeing a lot of people is joining us here on the live. People is talking about, we have Mr. Alonso, perfect example, Miss Nadira, Smiley, oh God, Smiley, boy, oh God. You're always coming in kind of different here, but what is the real problem, Smiley? Let me hear. Are you really having a problem with, you're always saying KBK? Are you having a problem with Kamala Persad-Bissessar? Why you think she can't win? What is the issue? Why don't just say something on a live and pelt stone and put your hand behind your back. What is your real issue? You keep talking about issues that dated over 10 years. Nobody can get a hold yet for these issues. What really and truly is the problem? I would have just listened to Miss Arima just now, and she would have brought a lot of things to the table. What is your problem at this point in time? Should the people stay with the PNM and continue to get licks, beat at the end of the day? Tell me, what really is the problem? There is a person in the comment section who does always give the 2 cents kind of negatively all the time.
Not kind of negatively. He always on the negative side. But tonight this is about the people. So Mr. Smiley, don't be shy. You and all can call in too and voice your opinion. Let us hear what you have to say. Don't just stay in the comments and just spell stones. We have a lot to say, so let us hear you. Tonight we want to hear from the good, the bad, and the ugly.
But let me add while we waiting on Smiley. Once the call comes in, Mr. Renison, feel free to disrupt my conversation. But let's talk about Kamala Persad-Bissessar. We had a prime minister who, in his last most important speech to the nation in Woodford Square, what is called the People's Parliament, Woodford Square, is addressing the nation in the presence of all his supporters, well, the few that were there, and all the king's men, which are the people who were sitting behind him. And, you know, I was fortunate to listen to a major part of that speech. And a major part of that speech was attacking Kamala Persad-Bissessar, rehashing the very issues that he got us so angry about 9 years ago that caused us to remove ourselves from her and give him the power to reign over us. The very issues that we heard 9 years ago. An opportunity last Sunday where this man could have been talking to us and giving us some reasons why we need to continue to vote for the PNM. Transferring some unfinished policies to the person that you are now passing that reign on to, so that the listener could feel a sense of hope to see some light at the end of the tunnel.
But Mr. Alonso,
but in a whole 2+ hours.
Yeah, we have we have a caller on the line. Good night, caller again.
Go ahead, please.
Yes, good night, caller.
Yes, good night once again. Sorry about the abrupt ending. I have a dry cough. It's real terrible, and I just had to cut off. So you asked the question, right? And that is if the opposition will be successful in the election. I say no. Without observers, they don't stand a chance. It's very dangerous with the CARICOM observers. I want you to pay attention to how the U.S. talking. I don't know if you're paying attention to all what's coming out. And it have a lot more to come out. So sad the election will be so soon. But let's see if more bad news will be coming out from the U.S. CARICOM. And there the country, the public will be alert more on issues concerning the CARICOM country. I can't talk anymore because I'm not feeling so well.
Oh, okay then. Well, go and rest. Yes, so Mr. Alonso, what you have to say about that concern? I know you would have heard the discourse from the individual. What you had to say concerning that contribution?
Yeah. Well, and you know, in some way, I could understand the concern for being cynical, being pessimistic about this election. But let me tell you guys, I don't care how corrupt and how much they try to frame this election. Everybody are equal in Trinidad and Tobago now. It means, therefore, without title, without position, without status, you only have one vote. This election will be won by a mass mobilization of a need of citizens for change. This is how people beat the PNM. When people are so disgusted, because that's what they did to us 9 years ago. They got us so angry with the UNC 9 years ago that we mass mobilize and say, hey, enough is enough. There were enough allegation of corruption and corrupt practices. It means, therefore, the very people that they got us angry against, they are now positioning themselves to run for another election. It means, therefore, all the gaslighting that took place 9 years ago by Mr. Keith Christopher Rowley against this group was really to put us against them. And what we see happening now is a continuance of that same behavior. You have not given us enough reason to vote for you. You have given more reason so that we could vote against she. Look at she. So every time they are confronted with their own sins, they take the mirror and they turn it towards them. But my question is this: within all that allegation, who was placed before the courts to eliminate them from presenting themselves? Miss Kamla Prasad Bissessa is still alive. She's still relevant. She was on a stage last night speaking to what I saw as a bigger crowd than what culminated in a national convention at Woodford Square on Sunday. In one little school, I walked through the crowd, and to my shock, I saw people there that all I could keep saying is, you too? You too? That became my mantra for last night. You too. When I saw people who were so entrenched in the politics is now coming out with an attitude of change, I thought I was the only fella who was willing to do this. But there are thousands of us out there who are realizing that the quality of our life is at stake for the next 5 years. Because when you look at the people who are now representing this party that so many of us have built from the ground up, these people do not represent us. These people do not represent us. These people don't sound like us. These people don't look like us. These people do not experience the things that you and I experience every day. These people don't need, as a matter of fact, the Prime Minister in his behavior that he don't need to be in England, take all your visa. He don't need to be in America, take all your visa. And in his contribution last night, he articulated addressing a particular person. I think I know who he was referring to, an African name. So it means, therefore, maybe the Prime Minister is now preparing himself to associate with his African people in the continent of Africa. So you have now buffing the British High Commissioner. You are now buffing Donald Trump. To whose demise, whose suffering is we, the people, who are going to suffer? You don't care. You don't care that if you have to go to a hospital, you don't need the Trinidad hospital. You could go away. You could go and see about whatever issues you're dealing with. We are stuck in our land. And so, were you speaking for the majority of us? The only conversation you give us Sunday was why we should hate the opposition. And it is the same old that we've been dealing with. As you would observe in America, we are seeing actions and policies being promoted in the public space, whether it's deportation of the illegals, whether it's shutting down of certain agencies. Very unpopular decision. But the politicians will tell you The reason why he has to do that is because that was the mandate that was given to the man. That was the mandate upon which the man got the voters to put him where he is. So he is taking action on behalf of the people who place him there. Brother Rowley, what are you giving us? What mandate do you believe we need to be giving you to set policies for us? Up to now, you have articulated none. So you have transferred nothing onto the present person who's supposed to be making those policies decisions for us. The only thing you are giving us is reason to hate the opposition. Because it has worked 9 years ago, are you really smart enough to believe that we are so stupid? This is the embarrassing part, that we are so stupid 9 years after to continue to go along those lines. Very, very disappointing.
Permit me to add to this. Now, remember the ex-prime minister, Mr. Rowley, he would have said the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago are stupid people. He would have called us stupid. You understand me? Because it's almost 10 years they are in power, right? And every time somebody call them out on a piece of foolishness they do, or something gone missing, or a school dilapidated, everything that the citizens would have called them out on, they shift the blame and they throw it on the opposition leader. But if the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago take their time and watch on, examine themselves, listen to the news, ask questions, and be attentive, who was in power for the past 9+ years? The PNM government, not the UNC. But you see, they know some of us, we are happy-go-lucky people. You understand? We are a bunch of happy-go-lucky people. We can't handle stress in Trinidad. You understand me? So any little thing happen, they know we will talk about it for a little 9 days, a little 7 days. It may stretch to 21 days, and that's it. Right? So hence the reason why he will call us fools. But you see, this election, we have to show this PNM government that the fools that he would have called us, we get sense. We are not stupid any longer. We have to get some sense. We have to understand what is taking place. This is not just about us, you know. This is about our future generation. You see, we babies, you see our children. This is about them. And they would have shown you time and time again what they are made up of. They are all about themselves. They are all about putting the party before the people. Because up to now, look at how much crime, look at the crime rates. Look at the crime rate. And up to now, they even come up with a solution as to how they're going forward to deal with the crime. They're even talking about how they're going to try and lower food prices. They're even talking about how they're going to at least give the public servants a little raise in salary, because everything has gone up sky high. They're not even dealing with these issues. They pledged to take care of the country, to take care of the citizens. They even make a song, "We love you, so we take good care of you." That is how our government takes care of its people. These people, Rowley makes sure and put his house in order because he knew he was going to retire off into this glorious sunset with his family. Right? Because under a height of election, you take a raise in salary, your salary go on to $80-something,000 per month and a $1 million back pay, while it have people out there suffering and hungry, can't even afford to send their children to school. Don't talk about the jail piling up, because why? Idle hands find idle things to do. So these people, this PNM government, is about time the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago wake up and see it as it is. These people, this PNM government, is not about the people. It's about power and the party. 9+ years, all they leave we to suffer, all they leave us to go hungry. And at this 99 hour, now you go see them coming. They want to give you all kind of, they keep you hungry. Eh? As Mr. Wayne would have said, they keep you starving for 9+ years, and coming down to election, they want to throw some corn up in the air. let it fall to the ground. Everybody running to grab to get something to go by. You understand, man? So when they get it now, they go, well, at least we get something where we go give them another chance. We're not going to give them there's no more chances for these people. We cannot handle another 5 years under this kind of pressure, you know. The country has run down. The schools where the young people are supposed to get a proper education. You all would have seen some of the videos. Mr. Renison, do you have some of the videos you could post, you could put up on the program so people could see to jog their memory? If you could do that, I'll be most grateful.
No, well, I will do that, but just to say in the least, there are some people that is making some mischief on the chat. There is a man that they call Smiley. I mean, Smiley, I was alerted of your mischievous activities that is taking place on the chat. The number, I mean, if you have the testicular fortitude as to call in and you don't give your point. We have some powerful people on the team here. You understand that could debunk all the nonsense you just be saying some of the time. Trust what I'm saying. I would like to hear you out of it. And I see all the time. Sometimes it just make me swallow my spit in my mouth and I say, oh God, Smiley on the live boy, oh God. But at the same time, constructive criticism is necessary. And some of the things that you are saying, brother, I don't know. I feel there's a double agent. I feel here is somebody that living outside of Trinidad and Tobago and just want to see bad things happening down here without directing the people logically down a particular path. I don't feel that you too care about what's going on. You is an agent of Rowley. You is what Rowley would have created from his tenure being there. Because he would have created heartless people. And I could say that concerning the little interlude that would have taken place with Candace Edwards and Roger Monroe up in Sandy Grande. This man is so heartless. Imagine this. The same pool that we would have been there highlighting. It wasn't since Roger would have ended up in office since 2020. That same community pool. It closed down. Frogs and things dying in the pool. I mean, we would have taken extensive footage, but Candace, you go ahead and go get the footage with the pool to show the general public. You go ahead, Candace.
Thank you very much, Mr. Renson. Now, let me tell you something. We had to keep reminding the people of Trinidad and Tobago, the citizens, you understand me? We had to educate them and let them know here what's going on. This is what was taking place for the past 9+ years. You all want to go back into that same situation again? We cannot go backwards. We have to go forwards. When you have this gentleman, what's his name? The Rasta one that said we could go and cook on coal pots and ride bicycle. Right? That is a disrespect. These people have it made for themselves. What's his name? His name can't come to me right about now. Scotland. This man would have been right. This man would have insulted the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. He would have insulted us, and that is a big joke for them. And it's about time we, the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, wake up from that syndrome. You know what this PNM government, I realize, doing to the people? They starve us so long. They keep us in poverty that our mindset remain right there. And we tell ourselves that this is as far as we could go. So whatever little bit of crumb they throw on the ground, they take it, they eat it, and they hush them out and say nothing. But we are more than crumbs. We are more than crumbs. Our lives matter. Without we, the citizens, there is no them. And they keep feeding us with the same shit over and over and over and over again. I'm only tired of that. We deserve the rights. We reserve the rights to have a comfortable house. I'm not hearing you, Mr. Alonso.
Good night, caller. While we wait, good night, caller. What is your contribution on the program tonight?
No, I was going to.
Mr. Alonso, we have a caller on the line. Good night, caller.
Hold on, we have a caller.
Hello.
Yeah, now they're well jamming this live tonight, you know.
Yes, Candice, go ahead. We just lost the caller because I don't know what would have taken place there just now. But go ahead.
They're well jamming this live tonight, eh? You see, it's everything with this PNM government is strategy. But Mr. Whaley was about to say something. Let me hear what you had to say.
Yeah, I wanted to put some substance to what you was. Yes, yeah. Are you hearing me?
Right, I'm hearing you.
Are you hearing me?
Yes, I'm hearing you. Yes.
Okay. I wanted to put some. Right. I wanted to put some substance to something you said in terms of them continuing to fool us. And I want to reference two recent contributions by our Prime Minister to prove how he continues to shift blame constantly.
Yes.
When he was in Tobago here, he used his time to talk about his disappointment about Sandals.
Mr. Alonso,
when that deal didn't go through,
Mr. Alonso, we have a caller
the
online.
man who initiated the query against
good night,
Sandals.
sir.
Yes.
Good night, John.
Go ahead.
Hey, Jeffrey.
Yes, good night.
Mr. Ali from Sunny Gandhi. Candice. Mr. Ali from Sunny Gandhi.
Pleasant good night, sir.
Hey. We not giving up. Let me stand up. This short space of time we get to one vote. Let these people come out and vote. Good night, good night.
Pleasant good night, sir. And thanks again for your contribution.
We have to come out and vote.
Yes.
Candice.
Yes,
we have to wake up, come out and vote. Don't mind we have enough time to camp. We don't have enough time to camp. But what? We have to come out and vote them out. Vote them out. We don't want them here. Well, let the people must go. All of them have to go. We have to win. No seat for them. No seat. 39 seats. 2 to Tobago. Nothing for them. We're going to vote them out, Candice.
Yes,
yes. Out. They're out. We not free them. Yeah, we coming out on that. We go come on, you know, state of snap election. We have said that. We call for that. Candice, we call for that. Jeffrey, we call for that. Kamala call for it. Call election now. And we get it. Yeah, we get it. We're going to fight them down there. We ready for them. We ready for the war. We putting on the gears to come up with them. We have said them. Yeah? We have said them. Yeah? Candice. Although, I stand up with other man. Yeah?
Thank you very much, sir.
Good night. All right.
Good night. Thank you. We will talk. Yes, Mr. Alonso, you can continue.
Yeah. So until we get a call, let me try to add some substance. Those two issues, the Sandals issue that he came to Tobago to rubbish against the people of Tobago. Over the period that deal was going through, the gentleman who was prosecuting the reason why Sandals was not good for us, it's not that he was against Sandals. This is a guy called Afra Raymond. He is one of those guys who is into, estimating properties and a quantity survey, as it were. And what he was looking at is the contract and the kind of offers that Sandals was making to the government and the kind of concessions the government was allowing Sandals, right? Now, he at the time, when the deal did not go through, the campaign was about everybody else why Sandals had to run and leave, because we bad talk Sandals and they pick up their stuff and they're gone and they went St. Vincent. Now in this last week, he's now claiming that the reasons that Sandals did not come to Trinidad is because the public servants responsible for processing the requests were late in the submission of certain certificate of whatever. Some of those documents that are needed to complete that deal. So now it is no longer the opposition who was pushing to not for Sandals. It was not about Mr. Afro Raymond, who was prosecuting the reason why they were not good for Trinidad. All of a sudden, you change your mind. Now, when you're telling us it is really the public servant. So they are constantly shifting the goalposts to satisfy the conversation. I want to
Yes,
bring some
exactly.
substance to another issue. Last 5 years, especially coming out of the COVID situation, a lot of conversation was being talked about the reason why he will not go to the IMF and the reason why he will not go to the IMF. The contribution on Sunday, that came about in the conversation again. And he said to the population, he was boasting about why we didn't go to the IMF, and he's taking pride in that. But he was able to articulate to the nation the reason why he feel that he didn't need to go to the IMF. He talked specifically about us maybe having to pay for our medical services. He talked about unemployment. People will lose their jobs. There will be cut in
Yeah,
some
I
of
can
the
remember.
subventions that take place. There will be, right? Those are the things he talked about. But prior to that, within this, that's what I tell you, this last week is so loaded with enough reasons why we have to be afraid of this PNM government. So within the last week,
Yes,
he
exactly.
talked about this issue with Maduro and the gas pipe, right? And he said to the nation that if this deal does not come through, our cuckoo cook. If this deal don't come through, our cuckoo cook. And as Trinidadians, we understand what he means. We in real shit street. That is the local term for it. We in real shit street.
Well,
He
well,
went
Miss,
further to say that we may not be able to pay our bill.
well,
Go
Mr.
ahead, Mr.
Well,
Edison.
Mr. Alonso, we constantly getting some calls too in between. We missed 2 calls there. So whoever on the line, or you could call back
Yes,
at the
once you
same
call
time
again, you can interrupt me.
before we are realizing we have a little low service on your side. So let me play one of the voice note from one of the most controversial figure that is on the chat. The man himself, Smiley, would have sent a voice note, and he attacked me online, but so be it. Let me play voice note, and anybody that have comments on the panel, Candice or Mr. Alonso, you could add to the discussion. Let me play the voice note, and you'll hear what this person have to say.
Yes, Mr. Renison, you're right. I am outside of Trinidad and Tobago. I'm based in Brooklyn. I'm over here. I'm interested in politics. I'm actually trying to learn the politics of Trinidad and Tobago. At first, I used to be a listener of the Ground Report. I fell into that nonsense. Eventually that turned out to be like a paid UNC propaganda program. I was looking for my hope was that the Ground Report would be like independent journalists, like what we have, over here in the USA with Candace Owens and other people like that. I was hoping that the Ground Report would be like that, and it turned out to be a total letdown. So the impression that you get of Trinidad by listening to that program is actually not accurate. So because of them blocking me, it made me like reach out to other programs, and that is when I actually started learning about the PNM and the UNC and the corruption and all the stuff that is going on. So it was a blessing. You guys turned me from someone who didn't know anything, a fence sitter, basically, to someone who was staunchly against the UNC. You know, I firmly believe that Kamala Prasad needs to step down and put more capable leadership. Well, actually, it's too late now. You know, if she stepped down right now, it's a mess. This should have been done months ago. She should have been prepared. You know, it's all disappointing. But first time voice message. Let's hope this program does not turn out to be like the Grung report.
Well,
Okay, so can I answer Mr. Smiley?
Go ahead, Candace. I mean, he's a presenter here. You go ahead and say what you need to say.
So, Mr. Smiley, pleasant good night. Right? I am Candace Edwards. So let me tell you something. For the longest while, I've been noticing you coming on and you're making your negative comments, and that too is appreciated. We must have the good and the bad. But let me tell you something. Anybody with common sense, if you over there and you're looking at the news and what's taking place in Trinidad, we had about 3 or 4 people sticking a pipeline, and all of them would have died, and they would have had families that they were taking care of, providing for, and that matter would have went before the court and all of that, and nothing came out of that. This PNM government, Mr. Smiley, in power for the 9+ how much years? The crime rates has gone up. A lot of unsolved murders. And you trying to say, Mr. Smiley, that you have a problem with the UNC? So everything the PNM does, and people call them out on it, is the UNC fault? I want to believe, sir, you are getting paid. And no, I don't want to cuss and get on bad because, here's not the forum for that. But let me tell you something. You out there in the UK or wherever, you are not feeling what the citizens in Trinidad and Tobago is feeling. And my take on this, if you cannot come here and say good, don't say bad. Better you shut up your mouth and say nothing at all, because I feeling the pain. I am a public servant. We haven't gotten a raise in salary since 2013. Cost of living has gone up, food prices, you name it. And I just be around my peers, and it have some of us. The first week we had to run to the money lender, because if we cannot come to work, we can lose our jobs. You have between a rock and a hard place. Money is going missing in the treasury, Mr. Slimy. Monies was allocated and given out to certain people, Minister of Education, to deal with, to fix schools and refurbish this and refurbish that. And when people would have gone to do a little investigation to see how far they reach, money's gone missing and not even a door or a window was fixed. The most amount of rundown schools it have in Trinidad and Tobago right now at the moment is under the PNM government. So, Mr. Slimy, you need to take your time and stop playing with our lives. This is a serious time now. This is our future generation you're dealing with. So you need to take your time, so you're getting my hot now. Because you're not here, you're not feeling the pain. You're not feeling the hurt from a mother that don't have nothing to feed her children. Much as to have money to send them to school or to buy books to put in the bag. So you see, you and your games, you need to stop it. Somebody go ahead. Mr. Alonso?
Yeah, let me take it from there. Go ahead, Mr. Robinson.
Alonso,
I want to respond to Smiley also.
You see, I want to make this clear while we on this program here this afternoon. I would like you to know, members of the public, citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, this program here is not a UNC program. And we, to say it in the least, there are some things that, we know UNC is not a perfect party. There are things that we agree with and there are things that we do not agree with. The workers' rights movement was the foundation of this program here today. We actually have a manifesto because there are certain things that we are planning to go to do in the future, that truth and in fact I was planning to leave that behind. We are going to bring out our Workers' Rights Party in the very not too distant future, matter of fact. So those that are looking on that know about the genesis of the Workers' Rights broadcast, what I am going to do here today is to show you guys our manifesto from what we did had, because today I had an extensive meeting today in which I had also bring out the manifesto to show the person as to what we are talking about. So if you are looking on your screen, that is the manifesto there that you are seeing. United in representation, steadfast in purpose and bounded by truth. And that was the main reason we have been pro-UNC or appearing to be pro-UNC, because at the end of the day, we have a government in Trinidad and Tobago that is turning their back on the citizen. And the only body at this point in time the citizens could turn to is the opposition. And I could talk explicitly from in the area of Labrador, where I'm born, I grew, my family, my friends, even said my enemies living here. And we are still living side by side. And the neglect that we would have been facing for the years, Labrador would have never been under the auspices of any party. And what we have gotten in this area here is next to nothing. If the whole of Trinidad was to fall into the sea, as I would have said to the individual today in the meeting, Labrador is done. The area of Labrador is contributing 40% to the national GDP. And the people within this area is poor. Imagine they don't have a bank in Labrador. People have to run to San Fernando Point. So the income that we have in the area is being siphoned out of the area, and they're telling we to accept Randall Mitchell when he come down here. I know about Labrador, and as I tell them yesterday, today and all, I am prepared to go to the very lengths in defending the people in this constituency. That is without question. So again, if anyone out here want to feel otherwise, as I said, there is a manifesto there that we have on the screen that you will see. We have, that the table of contents. That way you are seeing there now is the first page, a matter of fact. So before I hand it over to Mr. Alonso, let me tell you what the first page would have said. Alliance of Truth, that's in the first page. We the people stand united in commitment to creating a better world for us all. We believe that every person deserves the right to live in dignity, freedom from oppression and discrimination. We recognize that the current system is broken and it's our responsibility to fix it. We call for a strong social movement that will bring about real change and build a better future for ourselves and generation to come. Our movement is grounded in the following principle: equality, justice, solidarity, which we are constantly which we are demonstrating right now in our conversation with the UNC, sustainability, community, and non-violence. That is the motto that we stand. So the workers' rights genesis, the workers' genesis of the movement can be tracked back to our unwavering advocacy for labor rights and for human rights in Trinidad and Tobago. So I hope that answers your question, Mr. Smiley, where this is concerned. Right now, we have a government that is saying that take an oath to protect and to serve the people of Trinidad and Tobago, and we are not seeing that. And the only body of people that is speaking out, there are a lot of them. The ground report, yeah, they speak out, but they have their ties, a matter of fact. But at the same time, where there is injustice in Trinidad and Tobago, we will speak out. That is the oath that we take here on this platform. So I'm turning it back over to Mr. Alonso. You go ahead, Mr. Alonso.
Thank you, Mr. Renison. Let me just spend 1 minute on addressing Mr. Smiley, and then I will continue with the contribution I was making. And he needs to hear this. Mr. Smiley, if you say you live in the United States, I'm sure you would appreciate, and I'm not accusing you of taking a bribe and speaking for the PNM. Maybe you probably don't get involved to the extreme in the politics. Only recently we saw America had an election. And in that election, the conversation was a contrast between what they consider real democratic policies versus an autocratic approach to governance. It was policies of the Republican that saw a large shift of Republican members who created that party that crossed the floor and was siding with the Democrats in that last election. They went so far that they were appearing on all their stages, all the news media. You would appreciate that Fox News is designed to promote the perspective of the Republican Party. And you have CNN and MSNBC designed to promote the perspective of the Democratic Party. This is just how election is. And so if you have an issue with the ground report, it is reasonable to assume that you are looking for a platform that is having conversation pro-PNM. And the fact that the people are speaking, as Mr. Renison just highlighted, about issues that affect our daily lives that may not be friendly to the policies of the PNM, you cannot accuse us of being a PNM platform. First of all, I am not a member of the UNC. Candace is not a member of the UNC. We are citizens in this country who are feeling the pain of bad policies. So let's continue to talk about bad policies. I was referring to two situations where our prime minister was gaslighting the conversation about sandals and passing the blame on to the opposition. That was the conversation that probably made you so afraid of the UNC, because he accused them of being responsible. But that same prime minister you may not have heard came back to the nation only weekend and now accused the public servant for that deal not going through. I want to go further to tell you why we have reasons to be concerned as citizens living here. He talked about the reason why he did not want us to go to the IMF, and he talked about loss of jobs and increase in expenditure. But let me let you know what he said to the nation.
We have a caller on the line. Good afternoon, caller. What is your contribution tonight? Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Hello?
Yes, good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, what happened? I'm a first-time caller this program. I sit down and I'm watching the program. And what I really realize is something really wrong in this country, my God. You are trying to educate the people and them out here. And no matter you trying to educate these people and them, they ain't buying into that. At the end of the day, you got to do to see, I will do what I have to do out here to talk to the youth, get plenty to try and see. Because I'm elderly person, I'm 66 years old. You know? But one thing I tell you now is of the good work, by God's grace. Thank you.
Thank you
very much, sir. Yes, Mr. Alonso.
Yeah, I want to refer to this issue that I feel could be a central issue for even Mr. Smiley and people who don't even feel what we're feeling here. I want to face this frontally. The very prime minister who give us all the reason why we should not go to the IMF, expressed to the nation that if this Maduro deal, because it is evident that they place all the egg of the economy into that one gas deal basket. And the fact that they wasn't expecting Mr. Trump to win the election, now Mr. Trump is saying, listen, all those licenses that was issued from Venezuela to any country will be cancelled. The prime minister articulated, our cuckoo will be cooked and we may not be able to pay our bills. He identified a number of issues that will impact on the citizens if he had gone to the IMF. But in the last week, he said to the nation that if this deal don't go through, we will not be able to pay our bills. What does that translate to? It means, therefore, the fact that you already have bills, you have certain financial commitments, you may be forced to go to the IMF because this is the only means of revenue that is coming into the country. He talked about the ones who will lose their jobs, the medical issue. But let me explain to Mr. Smiley and the rest of the people on this platform that the people who will stand to lose by that bad decision, one that was not brought to the nation to make those decisions, but a handful of people in cabinet making a decision for all of us, where if that situation takes us to the IMF, the first line of suffering that take place will be the very people the PNM is depending on to keep them in power, which is the very mothers who are forced to leave their children 4 o'clock in the morning to go to work, the ones who work in CPEP, the ones who work in URP, all the make work programs in this country that are non-revenue generating agencies. Non-revenue generating agencies are the first in line on the chopping block. So that the mother who works in CPAP and planning for a little birthday line in Tobago to bring she family because she can't go too far. One, she has no visa to go nowhere. And two, the only place that could give her that sense of tourists is Tobago. $400 return trip on the plane, $150 on the boat, and then you have to pay for hotel. You have to buy food. Crab and dumpling here has gone up. It's almost $100 a plate. It means, therefore, if you're coming on the plane, that new airport they just built means nothing to us. That was not built for us. In the next couple months, we will not be able to access that airport because people will not have income. We are currently dealing with a situation where we can wake up in the morning and we are in a recession. And the very people they are bribing right now to give them another 5 years to manage our economy are the ones who are in the first line on the chopping block. One, goods and services will increase exponentially because the subsidies that you apply to our oil and gas for our local consumption, the subsidies you may have placed on certain goods and foodstuff and medicine. CDAP is a social program. There are thousands of citizens relying on CDAP to get some painkillers to deal with cancer and prostate and all kind of diseases that are impacting on us in this country. They will have to suffer. The Prime Minister said in his words, we may have to pay for our medical service. So that nice hospital they just opened in Port of Spain, we may see people having to pay a cost to even enter the main floor.
My
and so
God.
we are here, as Sister Candy said. We are here. We feel the pain. We understand what is coming down the pipe. So your comfort in America, having left a PNM maybe when the PNM was the PNM, is no longer that party. I am a member of the PNM. Candice was a member of the PNM. And most of the people on this platform may have been members of the PNM. But you know what we have for us? We are patriots by nature, just like the Republicans who crossed the floor when they understood that this Project 500 that Donald Trump was bringing to the country could impact on people's lives.
We have a
might
caller on
be
the line.
feeling it right now.
We have a caller on the line, Mr. Lanzo. I see a fire, you're piping out. Go ahead, caller.
Yeah. I'm getting there.
I call to say, I want to remind all the pensioners, if they do this, they're stupid. This man said pensioners is a burden on him. And right now, he's a burden on we. Eh? Nothing in the hospital. Nothing.
Wow. We really say that. You say pensioners living too long. Thank you, moms. What part of Trinidad and Tobago you calling us from?
I call him from Takrico.
Takariga, good night, Takariga. Takariga in the house, Candice.
This nasty
Pleasant good
man,
night, moms.
pensioners is a burden on him. Eh? We do service in this country. You cut cane, you plant rice, you work cocoa. Eh? Yeah, and now he and the PNM government is a burden on the pensioners.
Wow.
Eh? The pensioners have no medicine in the hospital. Port of Spain General Hospital have no air condition. The doctors working is casualty without any air condition. That nasty, dirty man, he and the PNM government is a burden on we pensioners. I'm glad he gone, but we leave trouble there. Because who he leave there, he just like he, and it will be worse. Thank you.
Thank you, caller.
Wow. So
well,
let me say something.
Well,
now,
what's your Candice? Do you hear what that woman now say?
And hear me, eh? She said that you listen to to mom's voice. The woman said that with pain and anguish, you know. The woman that came from a place of sadness in this woman's heart, you know. Because if you could say this about the pensioners, that their pensioners are burdens, but ain't he Rowley fix his business and nobody are touching his pension because he would have said he don't like his money to sleep out. So you see, this PNM government is a eater food government. That is why he wanted to raise the pension age so that you could still, you know, that they could work longer. But nowadays, by the time you reach 50 and 55, it's all kind of ailments, you know. So yes. What are you trying? Go ahead.
You see, at the end of the day, we forgetting where we come from. Because there's two things I know growing up, Candice and Wayne. The property of the government is old people and little children.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, the government and them, they raise the salary till it reach a point that a judge with all the perks adding up to $113,000 a month. So the people the people within the court system saying that they does be treated like shit. Plain talk, bad manners. So what this pensioner would have just, this aid citizen would have just expressed is discontent. Come on, I mean at the end of the day, come on, at $3,000 that ain't doing nothing for you.
No, because
so why you didn't raise the pension money? You make sure and raise your money first as a mother, as a father, as a sister, as a brother that care about the people around you. As a father, you just make sure your children eat first. Understand where this government mind is. And when I say that, I say all. Candice, I know you're piping out. Go ahead, Candice.
When he would have said the poor people is our burden. So we're trying to make the poor people life don't matter. And you see, that is my thing. When coming to election, is the same uncle and auntie, the same people all they have to go to, all they want to kiss them, hug up their children, and all they taking food from them out, and all they still want these people to vote for you. Trinidad and Tobago, I hope all they're hearing this. This is not a makeup thing, you know. Auntie take the time out to call in and put in she 2 cents because she would have felt the pain. And I hope Mr. Slimy listening to this.
Yeah, well, Candice, at the end of the day, this old woman, as we go put it across, have more testicular fortitude than many of the people outside that are just sitting down and listening when we tell her mobilize. No, you ain't mobilizing. But now it reach on our doorstep that Stuart Young and this government would have called election in a time that we cannot question them, because we would have put out the edict here within this platform. When they reach by our doorstep, question them. So in this short time span, they are trying to appeal to your emotion. They come in with the roti, they come in with the rum, they come in with somebody to pick you up on election day, and when election day come, after that, boy, them don't care about you. We have seen this for 10 whole years. And what the people is suffering from in Trinidad and Tobago is representation. And that, going forward, had to stop. I tell you, there are things that we are going to announce on this platform here going forward. And we are urging you, the members of the public, to stand with us. This is not about greed. If at the end of the day I thought somebody else could have done this, I would have just dressed back and just, close my eye. But closing my eye come with consequences within this area. This whole entire area that I am living in is dilapidated, and we are seeing money being siphoned out of here. I cannot over-express this, but it is within my heart. It is within my soul. I can't stand back and watch this happen. Not again. Yes, caller. Good night, caller. Good night, Miss Arima. Good night.
Yes, good night. I call in here. I could hear you clear now.
Yes, I hear you clear.
No, I read something on the chat there that a lady wrote. Her name is Bumati. She said that Maduro knows how to play the PNM. Right? Now, on this one, I could real talk because I know about this man very good. I just watch him in the news every day, what playing off on that side. It has some things people don't know about this man. They will look at, the U.S. granting the OFAC license to do the drilling, and this is what we're hoping for, and we already have secret deals with them and blah, blah, blah. But it have things people don't know and not watching. You see, this man sent message with the puppet Stuart Young to our parliament. He stood up in our parliament and roughed the opposition and tell them that they on that side next door don't like how the opposition, which is even us, the people of this country, there's always be talking about them every week. Every week is Delphi, Maduro. This is how he spoke to our opposition. And I was damn mad, and these people just take that. It was supposed to have an uproar for that. I find that man blasted out a place to be sending message with this puppet Chinese man where they put there for prime minister. For we, you understand me? I don't like him there, because he's a blasted puppet for these people next door. And he is making us know, the citizens of this country, that we talking too much about this communist dictatorship next door. Where does want to tell the people how to talk? So they're sending message inside of here for we to bow to them and keep we ass closed. Excuse me, I'm sure you know all.
It's okay.
Now I
it's
saw
okay,
this
ma'am.
talk.
Go
We
ahead.
must keep we mouth shut up and don't say anything about them. Listen to how Keith Rowley talking about cuckoo cookie. I mean that we gonna be hungry if we ain't got the gas in it. If we don't keep we ass closed, right? That man is not going to give us any gas. I telling you that. He's a man like that. He's very wicked. He dictating the pace here. Is he running inside of here? Who believe what I say? Right? Good for you to read and understand and learn and watch how these people talking. They will talk in code sometimes, but they're sending message to me. You hear what it is I telling all you? I talk plenty on this, and it have foolish people in the UNC. Used to find I only talking and talking. I give plenty warning. And all what I say, it come to pass. So you see right now, Miss Arima laughing. Is who live, and who dead inside of here. And who laugh last, does laugh the best. And who don't hear will have to feel. So all who play the fool, they have to take it in the pipe and smoke it with this dictating government that we have here. Right? All this kind of thing they're doing is communist action because they're dealing with Cuba. All that talk where he talking late about he supporting Cuban doctor. He in the Brotherhood Revolution with the Cuban and them. He ain't talking for nothing because it's a humanitarian thing with Cuban doctor working all over the world. People have to listen to what the U.S. saying. Right? The Cubans that pimp out the people. People will tell you, the Cubans are living on the street like how we have vagrants on our street. But they're living in rubbish. The government have them living in ruined buildings because they don't want to look bad with people on the street. They could prostitute themselves, male and female. They allow same-sex marriages to make the thing more relaxed for people. And they just give them a little bit of hog food at the end of the month. They go with a ration card and they get a little 2 pounds of milk. Certain people getting that. I could tell you a lot about Cuba. So Rowley and Stuart Young had to haul with their foolishness to try and fool the people inside of here about Cuban doctor. Nobody must support that. Let them get doctor from India and Africa, like how they used to do years gone by. And from this other place, the Philippines. This thing where he's standing up there is where they tell him how to talk because they have him wrap around the fingers. He's a puppet.
And you know, Mr. Rima, you hear what he's saying about this Cuban doctor thing. If it is at the end of the day that the Cubans and them exploiting these doctors and them, to a sense that they don't get a salary in their hand, what they get is just a fraction. So what you are trying to tell me?
A very small
fraction, let me say.
Are these people's salary? Doctors. So that's slavery? Where he going? And it's not only doctors he have working here. He have them working construction and all them old-time building around the savannah. So he patching for tourism. Why you didn't give the locals that? We skill. That is to support the Cuban government to feed the army, train the army, this, that, the other with the army, and then send out the terrorist army to guard them terrorist country and them outside. Right now they have soldiers fighting one that dying in the war there with Russia and Ukraine. Right now it's them we're guarding the president Nicolas Maduro in the presidential palace. These are things people have to know. Right? Because them stupid PNM following he. The man is a terrorist. He's a wicked man. He does torture people. It's not only he's a narco-terrorist. He does kidnap people and put them in jail and torture them. Sometimes they take their own life. This is why he wanted on the international. He can't go nowhere, you know. He can't go a place. The International Criminal Court have Interpol waiting for him that even if he step and come here, they have to pick him up. I could tell all you plenty, and these are the things the UNC have to learn and take information from certain people and bring it to the people. But when I say they're sleeping, I know they're damn sleeping. Anybody tell me anything, I just put them in the place. It's time people make the UNC know they have to come out with full pace. They were supposed to push out this government all 2 years, 3 years. We wasn't supposed to reach in this kind of position, right? Waiting and talking and set a boom about we go vote them out all 3, 4 years ago. Look how much people suffer. People dead all how inside of this place. We wasn't supposed to have these people inside of here because all kind of things come and happen, including the breaking of democracy. And when you don't have democracy, you have no freedom. They do all what they want because I say there was allowed because of the sitting down with the UNC. She could have do all kind of things and report that man to the Organization of Americas. But I don't know why really. The only thing I just say something is because she even afraid that organization because they would have deal with she too. Good night.
Right, good night. So before we go on, before I answer, let me play this voice note here. Smiley would have sent a voice note. Sorry. Yes, let me play this voice note. Candice. I know you have a lot to say. I see you on that side.
Okay, so this is my thinking here. Actually, I know the country went through some bad times in the past few years with the PNM. So my thinking is the UNC they was in government for 5 years. They had all these corruption scandals. The most recent one that I'm learning about now is with the Section 34, where, well, you guys...
Right, so I can't go into all of it. Good night, Mr. Smiley. Good night.
Hello?
Yes, good night, sir.
You know what we need to do, Renison? I think one night we need to just sit down and have like a history lesson on Cuba, because you had this woman come on here talk all this poison about the communist government. I think we need to, and I'll actually do this for you. We need to like really go back in history and talk about Cuba, the Cuban Revolution, and the Venezuelan Revolution. But let me see if I could give you like a little start.
Mhm.
There was a reason why Cuba had a revolution, right? What was happening is the capitalist was going in the country, and taking all of the resources for the country from the country back to United States and all of the other places. Castro came in and he just changed the whole system around. He kicked all those people out, and he used the resources of Cuba to benefit the Cuban people. One of the things with capitalism is capitalism doesn't necessarily benefit the people. It benefits like a wealthy few. With communist governments, they use the resources to put back into the people. They will put it into healthcare. They will put it into police, into services, into roads and construction. So what I was trying to teach Mr. Rima yesterday, that Cuba has the highest lifespan in the whole um, Western Hemisphere, the longest lifespan.
Excuse me, can I say
If
something, Mr. Renison?
let me
Yes,
let me
yes. The caller on the line. So
Yeah, but listen to me.
let me finish
No, wait.
before you start.
Right about now, we have to focus on what we have to focus. We can invite Mr. Slimy on another date, and he can come on and we
Yes,
can
that's what I
give
was
him
saying.
the
Yes, that's what I was
right.
saying. We have to
But as
educate the people on the
right,
Cuban
okay,
government and their revolution, because all of this
right.
nonsense and poison you guys are
No,
spewing
you can't
is
listen to
wrong.
me. You can't say nonsense and poison. No, I as
It
a
is
person, I just
nonsense.
get
It is
hot.
nonsense. I would
Hot
call it out
quick.
for nonsense.
Others get hot quick and others use obscene. So you take your time
I
from a
didn't
please
get hot
very much.
quick too.
I say, Mr. Renison, don't get me mad. Just cut off this man from a please. We have important things to talk about in our country. Who the look now? Tell this man go about the business, some please. Another day and another time. He's a distraction
We
now.
have
You
to
see
sit
right about
down
now?
and teach the people
Renison,
about
Mr.
proper
Renison,
forms of government,
Mr.
because this,
Renison, put this man on mute for me, please, before I start to use obscenity here. We don't have
right.
time for that.
So Candace, you see, this is a platform with
No,
democracy
I
here.
understand that, but you see the line in where he coming with? I consider this man to be a distraction. He might have some valid points and little issues, whatever. But you see, now we don't have time for that. He want to read a whole catalog first. We don't have time for that. You
So
understand? Because people in the comments are saying, like Mr. Emmanuel, I don't have control of the comments there because I'm a laptop. We need to deal with our issues. Issues are taking place here. So Slimy, leave Slimy for another time. If we have another caller, let the other caller call in, or let Mr. Alonso say what he has to say. Let us deal with us. He in America and he living comfortable. We still hungry.
So Slimy, so the team say that you're going off the point. Sometimes you had to be on the point, man. This kind of thing. Yeah, I mean, we seen you in the comments. We seen you commenting. You understand what I'm saying? But you had to be on the point. You had to be on the point. We're talking about a very important issue that is taking place here within our country, where the people is affected on a daily basis. And trust me, if we continue on this trajectory that we have here, we will be affected far into the future.
Yes,
a
sir.
certain decision needs to be made. When Alonso, I know you're on thing there, I know you're quiet. You had a full, I mean, you had some comments. Let me hear from you.
You know, I met Trini, who lived in the United States for many years. He's back in Trinidad. As a matter of fact, he was the barman on the boat, so he came and he got a little job. He said he wished he could vote this time. And when he came here, he came as an ex-PNMite. But he's been living here for the last 5 years, and I think he feels what we know and understand to be the demise of the PNM party. So now he's telling me he wanted to offer himself a councillor position under the UNC banner. It takes being here and understanding the cultural, moral, ethical value of people and what we have become used to feel and to see and to understand that acute change. We have to deal with what is real on the ground. This gentleman in America, he don't live here. He don't see our young boys not having opportunities, investing now in scissors. Scissors has become one of the hottest items that could now be promoted on the stock exchange because every corner of this country is a scissors with a little bit of grass in the hand, chopping marijuana. He must be here to see mothers trying to keep their children away from the drug dealers who are trying to employ them because it is the quickest form of income for these young men. He must see mothers who are struggling to keep their daughters in their home because the father's not around. The mothers who have to go to work to provide food on the table. He don't understand. So I agree with you, Candace, that while this conversation might be one of educating, it is non-relevant. We have an election to win or to lose. We have lives that are impacted, and it's only 6 weeks. We don't have time for the side conversation. So I agree with the need to ask him to hold that kind of conversation because really and truly, it could be qualified as a distraction.
Yes, good
Thank
night.
you so much, Ken.
Yes, good night, caller. We have our next caller online. What is your contribution tonight, caller?
Yeah, hello, good night. With all the things that has happened within the last 10 years, the country has gone backward. We have seen the performance of this present PNM, and really and truly, they cannot take us into the future. We have to look at things from a realistic point of view and decide. No longer can we argue whether we like a person or we don't like them. This government has to go. They have to change. We have to put people who have performed in the past, regardless of what we think about them, but we're looking at performance. Performance is what we're looking at. And during the time that the People's Partnership was in government, everybody benefited some way or the other. And we have to look at that and look at ways and means where we can move forward. While we're talking about gas and oil and we have a depleting amount of that in terms of the capacity that we had before, they had closed Caroni Limited and we were importing sugar, but we exporting products with sugar in it. So we could import something and export something and gain income. The same thing with oil. If we gas and oil, we're buying gas. Right now, Pari are making a profit from buying gas and selling to the local people. So we could use our local gas and open other downstream industries and sell the products of that now to make up for the shortfall in income. At the same time, every budget, the Minister of Finance says that the SMEs contribute more than $35 billion in taxes towards the budget. So it tells us that gas and oil ain't really producing much. If Maduro go, America will open up that business transaction like nothing, and if they have somebody who is in line with America. So we hope that will happen because Rauli and others were siding with him and at the same time making life difficult for us and making things hard. That the American people who have the control, we're not a sovereign country, who have control over all of these licenses and all kind of things, we have to depend on them for that. Trinidad is also dependent heavily on the US dollar. We could do like Puerto Rico and adopt the US dollar as the currency of choice, so we don't have to worry about forex. And they will now give us the opportunity now, based on facilities that we know will now manage ourselves and move forward. There are many things we can talk. The hospital system can be fixed. Doctors have to be paid good, and they must not practice in their private practice to use the hospital system to solicit people now to extort money from them. Mm-hmm. There are many things that we can talk about. But we have to look at it now from, at this point, the election is called. We need to now make up our minds strong and say, hello, the government have to change. And moving into a system now, if we beat them or we move them out by a landslide, to the extent whereby now we can have change in terms of the constitution and many other things. And until we are not focusing on that and focusing on small, petty items of this one and this one say and that one say and foolishness, then we will not move forward.
Exactly.
So we have to look at things not just only for us, but for our children and for the future too. Now, I don't want to go on for too long. I'll give all plenty things to think about. So
Thank
you all
you
have a
very
good
much,
night,
sir.
and let me hope we on that line.
And Kola, before you go, I mean, your contribution have always been welcome here on this platform. I mean, you just come with a very, very much balanced perspective. Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome.
Yes.
Yes, that caller. Thank you very much, that
Mr.
caller.
Renford, one of the things that the listeners need to know also is that all our major revenue generating assets are being transferred to outsiders. The same Sandals, you know who the man is calling, why he wants Sandals. Sandals is not a locally owned franchise. This is a Jamaican owned franchise. You want that to be your major source of revenue for the tourist sector, bringing a certain clientele into the country. That is Forex, and I agree. But could you tell me why our own Magdalena cannot be lifted to that level of a five-star hotel so that all the revenue stays locally? Let's look at this deal with Petrotrin. While they were touting that Petrotrin was losing money, we saw a recent report that showed in the last budget of Petrotrin, it showed that Petrotrin was making a profit. But look at what is happening now. They are giving Petrotrin to a Nigerian company, and the company from Nigeria is saying that the Trinidad economy and the Trinidad workforce can provide the labor to operate that, because we have some of the best skilled people in this industry. We have companies all over the world. Talk about Ghana, talk about Nigeria, talk about the United States, through Texas. A number of Trinidadians are hired in specialty positions to assist them with monetizing their oil and gas. Trinidadians are building oil platforms out in the ocean. And so why would you give it to a foreigner to come here to use our local capital to operate something that we originally owned? These are the questions we need to ask. Are they really looking out for us? Why you deny the oil and gas processing in Trinidad and give it to Jamaica, and then we now sending that to be processed in Jamaica and buying it back? So the kind of profit that we should be making, we are not enjoying the profit we're making. But then you put all your eggs and hope in this Maduro deal, and you're telling us straight up that when I leave, it's because all you have to fend for all yourself. The very people you're coming to beg to give Stuart Young 5 years in office. These are the questions. While we may not know all the details behind the scene, but just on the surface, there is a lot of cynicism, there's a lot of doubt, there's a lot of fear that in 6 weeks' time, 6 weeks, in the blink of an eye, our lives could change. It happened in Venezuela. I used to travel to Venezuela once a month to shop in one day. You go to the airport 6 in the morning, you jump on an Aeropostale, you shop all day, and you come back to Trinidad 10 p.m. the same night. Venezuela is a proud country, proud people, very progressive. Everything in Venezuela was hecho en Venezuelano, made in Venezuela. Where was the depletion of the Venezuelan economy? It was a socialist approach to governance where they feel that they could keep everybody at a level so that the economy can continue to give people all what that they ask for, right? If this is what you want to do for us in Trinidad, by empowering the handful of people, because you said it, Dr. Rowley, in order to keep us employed, you got to make the rich richer. You're telling us, in essence, we are relegated to stay poor. We are relegated to stay dependent on whatever little is given to us, so that when you suffer us for 4.5 years, the little we get in 6 months, that corn that Candice referred to that you throw up in the sky, who could catch? Who had to kill to pick up some will kill to pick up some. When it is done, it is done. And so what do? continue to be dependent because one, we ain't getting the education we need. Our children are functionally dunce. Our children are forced into a lifestyle that they are attracted to because there is immediate needs available through drugs, guns, and sex. Our children. This is the reality of communities. And I'm saddened to say, I am residing right now in Tobago. I've been coming to Tobago for the last 50 plus years. And I have witnessed that transition. Tobago now has corner blocks in every street. And what you have is young men chopping marijuana. It seemed to be the main source. Now, when you look at the fact that there is an increase in crime, there is a decrease in social issues where the village raised the child is no more. Parents not afraid to talk to their children right here in Tobago, and the Minister of National Security coming on the TV to tell us that they understand why crime is increasing. There is a direct relationship to what is going on in Trinidad. We've been saying to that minister, you know that all those drugs and guns coming right there on the port because there is no checks and balance for the people. I could put a bag full of marijuana and a big box of cocaine with a couple guns and cover it over with pumpkin and watermelon and say to the officer, I am a vendor going to sell my goods. You come now only 2 weeks ago through your Minister of Finance, where you have sent out tenders to purchase 4 scanners for the ports of Trinidad and Tobago. This is a central government requirement. You decide you're going to give 2 to Port of Spain and 2 to Point Lisas. Could you not have the courtesy, the care for the citizens of Tobago by suggesting we're going to give you 1? Nothing for this little island. So you are leaving this island to increase in decadence. You are leaving this island to increase in all that drug, gun, and sex issues that we are currently experiencing have been so depleted in Tobago now that mothers and fathers here are holding their head and bawling in this little Tobago, a little island that, in my opinion, could have been the poster child for good values, the poster child for morality, the poster child. This is a very religious island. It is predominant African based. So the Seventh-day Adventist Church is very influential here. We see recently where young men go into a graduation in the church. Big bacchanal with the pastor because somebody decided to plait their hair. So the level of disrespect we're experiencing now in this little island is now mirroring what is going on in Trinidad. And very simple intervention that could help. You are telling us you know the problem, but when it comes to solution, you leave us dry. You, Dr. Rowley, said to us, we, the PNM people, are scraping at the economic barrel. You, Dr. Rowley, said to us that we will look and revise the education system so the people who put you in power could have a better understanding of who we are. The East Indian people know who they are. They follow certain doctrines. They have brought it from their motherland. There's a book called the Garud Puran, which is what they take the instructions from, how to treat with their children, how to treat with their property, how to fashion their home. There is a book of instructions, and all we have asked you to do, give value to who we are. We put you there for that. And so while you identify the problem, what have you done about solution? The only thing you have given us is every citizen are privileged to grow 4 marijuana trees. That is the best thing you could have done for us, Dr. Rowley. And then want to go on the media and talk about you have no regrets. Are you really seeing what we are seeing? Are you seeing what we are feeling on the ground? Where is your heart? Where is your care? Where is your concern? We are dying. We are the ones that you are relying on to give you 5 more years. In 6 weeks, we will become all equals because with all the money and all the property and all the status and all the education, you only have one vote. It is us, the majority, who gives the minority power to rule over us, because we respect you enough because of that same education that you have, that you will manage the resources that by virtue of the Constitution gives us equitable right of distribution. That is what we know. But when we see other people coming in the back of the line and walking straight up to the front, Stuart Young is a good example. Look at that stage in Woodford Square the other day. Look at the people who are sitting behind you. Who are they? Can anybody in the PNM who have been fighting in the trenches, in party groups, building this organization in and out of government, including the ministers, does any one of them recognize those people? How do they get up on that stage and sitting in the front? They are coming from every direction, every other party. And you know why? They're not PNM by heart. They don't have the interest of us on the ground in Coca and in the back of Northeastern Settlement. What is happening with the PNM party? The PNM party have been morphed into a business organization. And when we see the kind of model that they want to bring, they want to start talking about attacking social media. What we are seeing is an autocracy, not a democracy. It's a handful of people who feel they know more than everybody else. So when Stuart Young, with his rich self, comes into a predominantly Africanized PNM community, the poorest constituency, the poorest part of the poorest constituency, and look at a voter where a camera is in his face and walks away from you, you have just disrespected every one of us.
Exactly.
Every one of us, because that is a question every community ought to ask the MPs. Sir, what plans do you have for our youths? That question comes from a deep place that all mothers and all caring fathers need to ask. We rely on you to use the resources of our land equitably, but you're sending your contractors into our communities. They are not even hiring subcontractors. They're giving a few fellas on the block work. And when it's time to get paid, they're not getting paid. We know the details. We know the facts, Dr. Rowley. So when you talk about you're doing this for the people of Trinidad and Tobago, then please tell us, who are those citizens that are enjoying the wealth of our land and our resource? Identify them. So when I talk to people in Labre and they talk about this deal with Point Lisas, I was told that when you look at the number of vendors, the people providing the goods and services, none of them look like your base. None of them look like members of your base, the very people who you're relying on to give Stuart Young 5 years in government. It is too humiliating. How much more can we take? So, Mr. America, whatever your name is, we are not UNC. We are patriots. And all we are asking for is a change in policies that govern our lives, is a new kind of governance structure. And the only party that has been battle tested, the only party that we can rely on with a foundational base to give us some sense of hope is the UNC. While Michaela and Hope and Gary and all of them may be good citizens that could be good politicians, now is the time. We got to get over this hump. And when we get over this hump, we can bring in everybody else now to match the type of governance that you want, so that in the further 5 years, we will decide where are we headed. All we want is to improve our lives. Aren't we privileged to do that? You want us to take more of the same and justify the BS that we have to deal with on the ground? I mean, come on. Come on.
So, you see, Alonzo, you see that passion you come with? Anytime people mention library, it send tremors up my spine. I know what we're facing down on this side here. I know what it takes to be the PNM down on this side here. We are seeing real problems down on this side. It is hurtful for some of the people down here to exist, to continually exist within this state here. Because we have 2 industrial estates. Come now, man. Candace, you go ahead now, man. You go ahead. Don't start me here this evening. Don't start me.
No, listen to
Go ahead,
me.
Candace. Go ahead.
Every time I hear Mr. Renison talk about library or a topic comes up about library, I just
don't bring up library just so. Don't bring up library just so. It does pain me.
No, listen to me, yeah? Let me fix my head. I just feel the hurt and I just understand where he coming from. Because we would have had some talks about the situation that taking place in library and what, you know, the people going through and all of that. And to see that this has been happening for quite a while, and the people down on that end, you know,
constantly voting the PNM and the PNM taking advantage of that. I just see that every single day. I just see that every day. I live in that. My neighbors just complain. And trust me, there's East Indian that just complain to me. They say, oh God, boy, what's going on?
Yeah, but the thing is this, what are they prepared to do about
it? Mean, vote them out. Vote them out. They are prepared to vote them out. Right. Every day, I just be caught up. I just have to run from people on the street. Because at the end of the day, they have no hope. So nobody's putting no hope inside of them. Because they are feeling with the current administration that are there. People that fool them so much they do not know who to trust. And at the end of the day, we had to go down a particular road. We had to take a leap of faith to come out of this. I fed up. At the end of the day, we had 2 mega industrial estates down on this side. And at the end of the day, people in our work, the people in this area here is only good to work security on the outskirts. And hear what you are saying. Hear what the people is saying. Hear what the stinking dirty MPs and them is saying about the people that all we good here to do is to smoke marijuana. But yet still we would have built those nice plants, the power plant on them that supplying the whole of Trinidad and Tobago. We work there and we build them plant from foundation to finish. We paint all the boilers, the steam turbines. We do that. We line up all the bolts and the nuts in these plants and them. And at the end of the day, these stinking politicians and them who is peer them in this area is saying to the people, we can't get to work after the plan done because you're smoking. And the experts and them that they bring here that to preside over us, to be our supervisors when in the initial stages of the plan, they're smoking cocaine. They are the ones that smoking cocaine, and you telling people the smoking weed and we can't or you can't work on the plan after.
So in other words, bullshit. So in other words, they come like they're setting up the people to fail.
And this I worked there. I was a supervisor there at one point in time. And these are the projects that is happening in this area, and the people there, we had was to fight again on the work. And still we had was to fight to stay. And through in the civil engineering part of the job, they would have they hired the whole plenty people, but after that they lock we out. They put a big stinking gate. And we are asking, I and Sheldon can have been advocating on a daily basis. Hey, the gate there is causing an obstruction, or is creating a monopoly with inside the estate that we want you guys to see about. I am prepared to write a letter to Stuart Young because he's this big Johnny come lately. I am prepared to write a letter to him concerning this, and if he do not respond, boy, I go sleep outside Whitehall. You understand? I go sleep outside Whitehall.
You see their strategy now, they call the snap election. So because they realize now that a lot of people making them out, and there's people like myself and other social media activists were brave enough, and according to you, have the testicular fortitude to come out and talk and let the public know, give them awareness. So they don't want that. So they decided to keep the snap election a strategy again. Let me tell you something, eh? Mr. Keith Christopher Rowley had has left this country in so much turmoil and in a mess. It ain't funny. This Prime Minister, and you know, again, as they always, as was watching the clip where Manning was warning us about his behavioral pattern and everything, and it's the truth. You're seeing it. The man would have, every time you try to ask him a question, what's so hard in answering the question? Whether it's a foolish question, whether you're right and the person that asking the question is wrong, what's so wrong in answering the question? They don't want to answer the question. They have no respect for you. Use a small round man on the ground. And I am seeing clearly now, and I wish the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago could see what I see. They could see through my lens. That every decision this PNM government would have made over the years was only beneficial for themselves, their friends, their family, and not for we, the citizens.
True.
You hear what I'm telling you? We are the ones on the ground, and I just always say they cannot live one day in our life because they don't know nothing about hunger. They don't know nothing about not having. And this is something I want to embed in the minds of the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. When all you got to put all your finger to vote, study about the countless murders, my brothers and sisters in Trinidad and Tobago. Study about all the unsolved murders. It may not would have happened to your family, but you would have known somebody, a friend of a friend, and see the pain and the hurt of that person, loved one that was gone, and they haven't gotten justice. Look at the young man, the last diver. Up to now, I don't think they would have found his body. The wife would have given birth, crying on social media and hoping and wishing that the father would have been there to embrace his child. And this PNM government turned a blind eye towards that. The citizens of Trinidad and Tobago have to realize here what's going on. This is not about East Indian or Africans. This is about we, the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. Because if you cut you and you cut me, it's the same blood. We have to stand together as one body and let these people know here what's going on. Enough is enough. Stop the blame game, because every time you try to ask them a question, if you notice, Mr. Renison and Mr. Alonso, if you notice, every time you go to ask a PNM minister a question, what they just do? Shy away from you, they insult you, they walk past you, stoops at you, buff you into submission. So here what's going on. You don't have the right to ask them nothing. And a lot of people would have viewed the video when I went to ask Stuart, and I didn't even know if Stuart Young was there. I went to speak to my MP because I know what's taking place in the northeastern settlement area. And what Stuart Young did, he touched him on his shoulder and ushered him away from me.
But Candace, you know it has some so-called activists, radio activists say Stuart Young never pull him. You see, that is what people just think at the end of the day.
Listen to me.
When Candace, when the camera ain't pick up some, that don't mean it wasn't there. What you are talking about is an eyewitness event. And what you are saying is that you see Stuart Young touch the man on the shoulder and pull him away, and there are some stinking dirty activists coming all over social media and are calling names tonight. Down to Dominic Romain, where I said the man didn't walk off.
He did. I have no reason to lie on him.
Boy, you send the live team. It ain't no thing here tonight. This is a serious broadcast here.
He did, and that is to show you this man. Listen to me. Trinidad and Tobago. And you see, this conversation right here now is directed to my people in the Northeastern settlement area. Every mother, single mother,
Talk to them,
single
Candace.
father.
Talk to them. Talk to them. Talk to all of them. All of them that has meet you all on the maxi. Talk to them. Talk to them.
Northeastern settlement. I want all you to sit down and think. When all you open all your fridge, when all you open all your pantry, the morning all you get up, and there is no food to feed your children, no work for you, the parent, to go to see about your family, I want all you to think. Because you see this last meeting here, that the time they know you. If they have a day I walk through Grandy and somebody and stop me and ask me, use the lady, and they start to complain about Monroe. A certain individual would have stopped me and told me, said he went to school with Mr. Monroe. And he went to him to seek employment because things hard for him. And the man told me that Mr. Monroe would have told him, you all have faith in politicians. I am not a politician. I am a businessman. He said he stood up there and he watched Monroe. He said he wanted to cuss him. He said, look at that. I campaign with this man all over. He wake him up, all hours are going here, there, and everywhere. Now this man in a position where he can help me. This is what he going and tell me. And I tell you, I in the Juve, enjoying myself, And the man stopped me. So I had to stop and listen. People keep coming up to me and talking and telling me the situation. I say, oh God, I decided to stay home. Now, mind you, I'm dealing with the fact that they jump out with a video stating that I would have gotten a house. I'm going to tell you something. You know what I realized? You see, in this country where they come out and you make a stand for what is right and you're trying to educate the people as to what is taking place, they just try to put a spoke in your wheel. That is why they would have hired the pastor Google to come out and try to discredit my name and say all kind of things about me. And the Jennifer Frederick, with she fast self, who knows nothing about me, to come and bust up she mouth. Because why? I have too much of followers. And that I am misleading the public. Misleading the public. And they already know what's going on. People seen it. People are not stupid anymore. And even if they're stupid, hunger going to get them sense, because plenty of we in the Northeastern settlement area, we are hungry. I would have walked out in my street and I saw a group of young men again, but this time they didn't have scissors and Mr. Alonzo, they had the grinder. So they're grinding on the block, and I walk up, I said, gentlemen, good night. Everybody jump out. Good night, Miss Candace, how are you going? I said, well, we started a little group cottage meeting down by Miss Erica there and XYZ, and I would like to invite some of you guys. They say, well, yes, Miss Candace, we go come. I say, yes. He said, what is this about? I say, it's we the people, what we the people in Northeastern settlement, the area, what we want, what are our needs. You know, one young man turn tell me, he say, God, Miss Candace, I just rob people, I just do a little crime and thing now and again to survive. But if I could get a little walk, I ain't lying, I could change my ways. If I could do a little course, something, I stand up there and I feel so helpless. Then I asked the question, I said, did you ever go and talk to your MP, Mr. Roger Monroe? He said, girl, Miss Candace, I'm fed up try. And they only tell him, come back, he's not in office, he's not in office, he's not in office. So again, how come it's only when it's close to election we just see these people? And throughout the years we have seen them. What really going on? What really going on Trinidad and Tobago? You know the reason why they call this snap election? Because, they are afraid people, listen to me. People starting to pay notice, pay attention. People are starting to pay attention as to what is taking place. People are hungry. Simple thing like food to feed your family. You telling me people cannot afford? And all you can say is tighten your belt? You can tell a man, when a man hungry and he have nothing to go by, what are you going to do? Not look for the easiest person to rob? Crab in a barrel syndrome. And when you're living in a neighborhood and it have a drug block close by and the drug man seeing your little daughter or your little son stray away, and he going to start to recruit. And then when it has some of the officers climbing the fence and assisting the drug lords in carrying out their duties. There is no hope for the youths. So when Rowley will decriminalize marijuana and tell you're liable to 3 or 4 much trees in your place, that was a strategy to win the election because the youths and them, they're young, they're giddy-headed, they're idle. And so that is how they would have won election the second term. But he didn't know it had a backlash to it. Because all the youths and them, they forget school, you know. The majority of them forget school, and the ones who went to school or university to get a proper education, when they come out, they ain't getting no jobs. And the ones who drop out, they were a grinder. And they have about 10 blocks on one street. And Mr. Rowley say he wants to be remembered as what? As what? Come on now, man. Every decision this government make is for themselves and their family. They fix their business. So in case they should come out, they get out of power, they don't have to look back. But if they stay, well, there's a bonus. But we have to make, see the people in Northeastern settlement area and down in the back in the new settlement and in the Babande and all over, all they are tired, all they are fed up. Well, now is the time for them to get tired and fed up, because if we don't get tired and fed up now, for the next 5 years, we'll eat grass and drink canal water. I tell all you so, because if nothing is coming, or they're still waiting for something to come.
Huh. And Candace, a lot of calls coming in. The call just lighting up. People just want to get in.
Well, let them come in.
No, well, Asia was on fire, so everybody who would have tried to call just now, I could not have cut Candace. Oh, you're calling. You see, now is not a time for no game. I could not interrupt the contribution just now, because at the end of the day, I know when Candace underneath the spirit what has come up, because we here the talk underneath conviction, with heart, with soul. That is how we just bring this contribution here on a daily basis, as a matter of fact. Go ahead, Candace.
We want a government that cares about the people. We want a government that is not biased. In the height of an election, you see, the thing is this, the government is aware of everything that is taking place in Trinidad. They know who the criminals are. They know everything. They know every details. They know it is their business to know. But what are they doing about it? What are they doing about it? Nothing. You know why? I strongly believe now that crime is a business. Because look at, all leaving the borders open. Venezuelans coming in because they don't want to live in their country no more, so they want to come up to get a better life. Here is in Little America. Now it is alleged you want to give them citizenship, so they will have an ID card so that they will be able to work and all kind of thing. So what about we people here? Why not make things better for us first? Because you're saying the country hard, you know. But you're still opening your arms. And when they catch it, or they're finding money to do all kind of thing. All kind of thing, you know, but all they're helping on your own. And then Rowley with a jump up and ball. All they like too much of handouts. Who's supposed to get the handouts? We, the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. You know what is PNM government telling you? Hello? We have a caller? No?
Yes. No, I think they are
lost him. Oh, yeah, we would have lost Alonso for a bit. I'm gonna tell you something. That people and some of us get so emotional because you're seeing it. It's all kind of thing happening. There's murders taking place. People losing their children, losing their lives, and nothing is being done about it. And all they're doing is the blame game. Shift the blame. As the UNC do this and the UNC do that. I just always say, all government go there in power will thief. Their will thief is money. It's human beings. Nobody has said that. No. Once your hands get caught in the cookie jar, but we have our Minister of Finance. Monies went, it is alleged, monies went missing under his watch.
Candace, this can never be alleged. This was all in the papers. There is
No,
money that
listen to
was
me.
missed, $3.7 billion went missing. It's not alleged, it went missing. What we are talking about is the accountability. They say there's accountability error, but who is to say? At the end of the day, it's not alleged. It's not an alleged. It's
All these monies gone missing. And who is being held accountable for that?
That accounting error, man, Candice. That accounting error. Sweep that under the carpet. Sweep that under the carpet.
But eventually that is what's going to happen. You see, they have to put things in place. Like some of them Nigerian country, when they catch ministers in these kind of thing, it's that you jail them, you know. Because when you continue to do that, you're messing with the people. You're messing with the country. It's about time.
We have a caller here online. Good night, caller.
I hope it's not slimy here because slimy will make me use obscene.
Good night, and listen to the program, wonderful program. Listen to me. All of them, Stuart Young and all of them, is no different than what is taking place because they all sat in the parliament for the last 10 years and did nothing to uplift Trinidad and Tobago. The sad thing about it, that people, the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago need to understand, is that the mandate for the first 5 years, they didn't fulfill it. They asked for the next 5 years. They got that. They didn't fulfill that. So they have 10 years of mandate that they haven't fulfilled. They want the next 5 years? Come on, people. You have to wake up. PNM must go. Have a good night.
Thank you, caller. PNM must go. PNM must go.
There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. The PNM must go. Let me try somebody else again. Let me give somebody else another chance. But the PNM must go. I'm Mr. Renison.
But Candace, but the savannah was full in Woodford Square. And PNM must go. People still supporting PNM and PNM must go. At the end of the day, they are saying all kind of things about the people that is prepared to defend them. And PNM must go. Man, you need to wake up. That little trip that Oyep get paid to go on, because I would have seen a lady in Labre, she would have dropped out of the maxi. And I would have said, girl, is a disgrace to the people within this area. You understand? 11 o'clock in the night, after that march in the savannah, not the march, but the gathering in the savannah, they drop you off by the road and you have to walk inside. Where you going? And at the end of the day, you're calling my next partner to accompany you because it's dangerous. The same PNM you would have left Labre to support is responsible for this crime situation that we have in Trinidad. They call you in a meeting, you could have lost your damn life. And you go in and you supporting them, but the PNM, PNM must go.
I would have seen a lot of people out there, and I was like, these people for real? These people for real, boy. I don't know. Watch me, Rowley have a right to say that we stupid people, you know.
Of course.
So I want to ask some of these people, when all of them jump up in all their red jersey and thing, and all they drink rum and all they probably eat roti. The next day, because I know it's everybody suffering in Trinidad and Tobago, you know. It's everybody under the gun. It's everybody biting the bullet, you know. What you feel going to happen there?
Candace, Roger ain't suffering. You understand? He have
we know that, Fafa.
He have very big properties. You understand? He ain't suffering. Not everybody. The PNM and them, Marvin Gonzalez, these men not suffering. These men and them get an increase. It's we, the people, the average man on the ground, the taxpayers, we suffer. The people that supporting the lavish lifestyle, we suffer. And we must do something about it. And that is what this program is about, you know, not just highlighting these problems, you know, but to bring you guys into understanding that these things needs to change at the end of the day. And we can't do it on our own. You need to come forward and put your hand in that ink and vote against oppression. That is what you need to do. Go ahead, Candace. Go ahead.
No. Listen to me carefully. I realize this slimy guy, he's antagonizing the viewers, the commenters. And that is, some people really don't like, they come on here and they want to voice their opinion. They don't want people targeting them.
Candace, right? you don't pell stone at a mango tree that in a nut. Let me be real.
No, well, see, I understand this, but
the people who this man antagonizing, it's people that bring in valuable contribution.
Yeah, but you see, your way of thinking and mine is different, but nonetheless, I'm telling you up front, when you having slimy on the program, please exclude me. Because they will take us off the air because when I'm angry, I just use little curse words and thing, and I don't want to curse. Because I find if he has a point to make, it's all well and good, but you're antagonizing the people, and that's what I have a problem.
Candace, we are waiting here. No, we are no caller. We are waiting here. We are everybody here on this side. You don't understand nothing. Slimy can't come and say anything. We are here. We as a team, we are here to defend one another.
Yeah, we're here as a team, but you're seeing this critical time where we need to focus. The man he's like a them rush when they go to the barber and you get it all over your head and you're trying to squeeze lime and all kind of things. When they make kill it here, it jumps up. Yeah, and he. All right. You understand?
But it's okay, Candice, because we need all the dissenting views. Let me butt in for a quick minute here because you said some things that I like to put some meat. Yeah, I like to put some meat to that bone. You talked about one of the social media activists talking about you getting a house, and this is the problem with the base of the PNM, and the power of the organization called the People's National Movement. Sufferation is their power to keep people in subjection and dependent on them. We know that, right? So that when you get something, they make you believe that is we are giving it to you, not the resources of the land that we were put here to manage on your behalf. It is we who give you that house. So you have an inherent right to continue to support us. So what is happening with the PNM base, like the one you are referring to? Are you with me, Candice?
Yes, I'm here. I'm listening. Yes, I am.
Hello? Okay.
Yes, I'm here.
What is happening with the PNM? What is happening with the PNM? The base of the, what is happening with the base of the PNM is that they talk in the collectives, like I always refer to, is we build SAPA, we build NAPA, we build the highway, we build the hospital. So they talk in macro terms, and it's because the organization, the executive, they understand that. Is why in the last week, their real value is showing off their accomplishment, which is a big airport in Tobago, a hospital block in Trinidad that cannot serve us right now anyway, because they understand their base speaking the collective. So as soon as they jump on that bus, heading back to their respective homes, they were forced to go and support. Because on that bus, they don't, is because you're trying to go get that job you came and asked me for. So we understand how they have indoctrinated us to be constantly dependent. But I want to raise a point. Go ahead, Mr. Renison.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
I want to raise a point in addition to that word sufferation. And I want to ask Dr. Rowley, between the years of 2007 and 2009, I know for a fact because I was one of the persons that was chosen to accompany this group of consultants that came out of Jamaica. Jamaica was dealing with that homeless issue, that dependency issue, the Gaza, the gully kind of issue. And so they had a housing program that was able to transform certain communities in Jamaica. And the Trinidad government under Patrick Manning hired that organization to come and do some mapping and some surveys within the communities of Bitham and Silots. This was in keeping with a broad plan to enhance the housing stock in Port of Spain to make it a user-friendly commercial type of city where we would invite more residency. Within that period, there were a number of drawings that were posted around Piccadilly Street. They were going to redo the grandstand and the north stand for culture in the Queen's Park Savannah, just as they were finishing the Napa. They had that drawing there within the years of 2009, 2010, just before the election was called. The question I have for Dr. Rowley, who was the Minister of Housing responsible for that project? It was he, Dr. Rowley, as far as my memory serves, was the Minister of Housing for that project. Whatever bacchanal took place with the PNM, it is history now that Patrick Manning was voted out. And who was trusted in that leadership within the 5 years that the UNC took over the reign of governance? It was the current Prime Minister, or the one that just resigned, Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley was the Prime Minister responsible for that. Okay? 2015, you give us enough reason to see you as our savior. These are the kind of projects we felt that as citizens, we could really boast and talk about we. Because it was projects that was enhancing the lives of the most vulnerable people in our society. Bitam, Silots. What was Dr. Rowley's first big project in Trinidad? It was to refurbish those 7 buildings around the Queen's Park Savannah and including the President House. How does that translate into bread and butter issues? How does that translate into enhancing the lives and the livelihood of people in Bitam and Silots? This was 2015. You have had 9 years of governance for the very people who keep you in power. Those 3 seats, regardless of what you do in politics, you are guaranteed those 3 seats because they are the poster child of what I would call psychological abuse. Right? What have you done? You have left. And the people of Bitam, East Port of Spain, right? The people in Silots, look right now, they have war going on in Silots among their own people. You have left these people in their squalor, Dr. Rowley. You have left them in their squalor when you could have picked up those projects that were almost completed during the reign of Patrick Manning and make those people feel a sense of belonging, a sense of worth. What have you done? You have walked away and put somebody that they cannot relate with, put somebody whose interest is not to enhance our lives, but to seek the interest of his own. And you are the one that we, the people, were looking to enhance our lives. When I saw those drawings, me myself said, I would love to get a unit along Piccadilly Street because they were building, Patrick Manning had a plan to build the kind of structure where you're living upstairs, you have your shopping, you have your gymnasium, you have your swimming pool, you have all the things that you need for life and living. All people are asking for is an opportunity to enhance their lives. Simple. And when you give those people that, you think they want to pick up guns to threaten that very life they can now enjoy? Yeah.
Thank you.
Sad.
Thank
Sad
you.
reality.
Thank
And
you.
that man talking about he has no regrets. That man is talking about he has no regrets. These are the things we need to remind Dr. Rowley about. You said leave them poor so that the rich can get richer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Keep them poor. Keep them uneducated so that the rich has a pool of workers. The pool of workers that will continue to manage their business. Security, fast food outlet, grocery stores. It's we who are running those businesses.
Yeah.
They're promoting some to be supervisors. They have the transport and they have the regular workers. Those are main jobs in Trinidad now. Main jobs. When a fella work in KFC, he feel proud now because it's a main job. KFC, Burger King, supermarket, security, everybody leaving high school and running for security work to work 12 hours a day. That's where our mothers are. That's where those children mothers are.
Yeah.
12 hours a day.
And they are being
you are
left
proud
unattended.
to
Yeah.
say you have no regrets. Yeah.
He must
Sad.
have
He's a
no
sad
regrets.
man.
He must have no regrets because it doesn't affect him. It does not affect him. So when you as a mother or a single parent, you going to do a 12-hour job, right? And then you get an extra duty. Remember your children home unattended, your young sons, your young daughters. What going on happen there? And let's say the security job is out of Sandy Grande. Mind you, you're working in town and your children in Toko or in Matlat or somewhere. You know much things could happen? You're leaving room. You're leaving room for the outside elements to step in. So that is why I would have said when he first announced that he was leaving, I told him, you are riding off into the sunset and you're leaving we for dead. But all these blood and tears that people would have gone through over the years, how the blood washing and gushing on the streets, it must play on your mind. It must ride your mind. That pacemaker he has in his heart, it must stop for a while. He must never enjoy that retirement. You know why? It's on the backs of the citizens. It's on the backs of we, the citizens, you and I. And people must remember this. This PNM, you know, when they really check it out, I was a diehard PNM. I come from a PNM house. You couldn't talk nothing about UNC in that house. But when they really check it out, under this PNM government is the most amount of sufferation. You know, they're telling you why you cannot get certain things. You don't need this. And this is not for you. So your life must not get better. It must reach at a certain level and go back down. It mustn't cross a certain level. So the 1% could always go higher. And the poor man have to remain on the ground and look for the feed. So when you throw a feed, you jump up and you catch it. If you don't catch it, well, next time for you. And you keep next time for you. So if you didn't get through this election, you might get through the next. And they keep leaving us on promises and lies. And I say no more.
And Candace, you would have reached a very serious point there in which you was talking about violence. And I am saying, if there is no better reason why to not vote this administration, it have to be, or it must be, on the basis of crime within this country. Because at the end of the day, people of Trinidad and Tobago, underneath this administration, murders, home invasion, and gang violence have been something that have been skyrocketed underneath this administration. And if at the end of the day, we cannot be safe within our own country to do business, to go to work, to come from work, this is a salient reason not to vote this administration back into office. Trust what I'm saying. This government would have failed to implement effective crime fighting measures. And only old talk, no results at all. I show Mr. Alonso over in Tobago because there are people from over there that has contact us. The crime rate in Tobago would have reached a level that it started frightening people over there. That might be the issue that might destroy tourism in Tobago. That is how real it is, isn't it? The salient reason, one of the salient reasons to not to vote back this government, it must be, it should be on the basis of crime.
And you see they try to distract us by saying that we do not have a serious crime problem. You understand?
Not that only one distraction. The next distraction is that the country have money, so we could raise our salaries. That is our next thing. We could raise our salary. A judge could get $113,000 a month, and you only gain a stinking $8,000 a
8,000. But
this.
So what happened to public servants? Go ahead.
Renison, I want to include two things that you talk about increasing crime, and people are not paying attention. They might be observing, but they're not paying attention. There is an increase in homelessness. There's an increase in homelessness in Trinidad where people are losing their homes because they cannot afford to pay rent.
Yeah.
And there's an increase in mental health issues.
Yeah.
There are people who are now becoming clinically depressed in this country.
And
there are young
lives.
people. The other morning I thought young people are going mad in Trinidad and Tobago.
So true.
Right?
So true.
And these are the things that people are not paying attention. We're only looking at crime. But even the ones who are not involved in crime are victims of this system where they are becoming homeless. The mother who had to drown her 3 children or 4 children in a water tank here was reaching out to every and anybody, begging for help, that she went to live with a man, from what I was told, according to the report, and the man put her out. She became homeless, young, attractive woman with 3 children. So I'm not sure what the final outcome of the investigation revealed, but the talking in the atmosphere was depression led her to do whatever she did. But what I'm saying is that we have to look at even the ones who are among us. They are victims of a system, of a type of governance that could impact on any one of us. I am fortunate that I have reached an age where I am not dependent on any politician for my livelihood. But there are too many of us in the system right now have nowhere to turn. When you take away a man's job, when he already bought a car, he has a bill to pay, he just rented an apartment, he has to secure his family. When you take that away from him as a man, you feel so disempowered, you feel so helpless that crime becomes your best option. So you have put people transitioning into behavior that normally they would not. You cannot say, well, he was destined to do that. No, he is forced to do that. And you have a prime minister sitting with 3 journalists proudly declaring that he has no regret. There was nothing that he could point to say, you know what, maybe I could have, should have. The man on his last conversation with the nation in the People's Parliament stand up there to bad talk an opposition leader who 9 years ago, the very thing you are rehashing is what you want to make real to us, why we should keep you in power. You have given us no reason to vote for you or your party, but you're trying to give us all the reason why we should not vote for somebody else. And that is the problem with us, the PNM people. The PNM people, they glory in that kind of bacchanal conversation because they don't read. They are not in a position to decipher and to discern what is good and what is not good. And he is now telling us that the reason why the Sandals bill didn't go through is not the very thing he told us 9 years ago that caused him to bad talk the opposition. He made us believe it was she and everybody else opposed to him why we didn't get Sandals. But now you're coming back to say it was the public servant. He who tell us bad talking the opposition when she was trying to bring some other rationale why we should not use certain the drugs that they were giving us. And she was talking about sunlight and the beach, which is good information. Now we see that Pfizer is before the court in America being sued because they now realize some of the after effect of that vaccine, right? You now is telling us that the reason why you didn't take us to the IMF, and now you're coming back just the other day to talk about the fact that our cuckoo cook and you may not have money to pay your bills, but you want us to have confidence that the same policy you have run for 9 years, you have given us no reason to have any hope, but you want us to continue to keep you in power to take that.
Madness.
I mean, how much more can people take? What is sad, however, is that there's still a large pool of PNM people who continue to buy the BS.
Yeah.
They continue that they have in social media, they have on the radio. They are the ones who gives that now and promote that narrative. And let me tell you something, Candice. They're the politicians know they're giving us bullshit. They know that. They don't believe in what they're telling us.
No.
But they become convincing because they understand who we are. We speak in the collective.
Yeah.
We, and they're catching their backside.
Yeah.
When you go back in their home, they have nothing to give their child.
Yeah.
They're on a temporary job, which will get cut if the IMF steps in here. The first order of business, because the IMF is the one who takes over the dictate of the economy. They tell the Minister of Finance what he can and cannot do. When they're giving you your money, their money, to come out of the situation, they control the narrative. They control the programs. And it is the non-revenue generating aspect of the economy that has to go because it is not putting anything in the system. How many of us are relying on CDAP? How many of us are relying on CPEP? They have made CPEP a full-time career when CPEP was designed for temporary transitioning of people who may find themselves from one job to another. Well, boy, we go give you something to do while you're looking. It was designed for temporary work they have made because you know why? It is working for them because they could threaten you when you don't go on that maxi to go to show off and drink your rum and to add to their numbers. That is the tool from which they pull. And these are the same people who are so tied to their condition that they live with a sense of hope that, listen, just like my buddy told me, my daughter gets, so I could wait. I feel they come in. Yesterday, Candice, I went to the back where you live. And I ran into a childhood friend of mine, one of the best soldiers in the Toko Sangre Grande region. This friend of mine, we grew up as children. And I went into his home and I couldn't cry in his presence. But oh gosh, when I spoke to the mother, to the wife, sorry, I said, where are you in the campaign? Are you not out there with Monroe? She said, me and them, I done that. I said, so what you gonna do? Well, you see me, I waited until election and all I going to do is to vote. I said, who you voting for? Well, I had to vote PLM. So I go to the husband, my buddy who I grew up with. And let me tell you, he has a son who is a national football player, just got contracted to the top team in Canada. Let read between the lines. Just got contracted when I spoke to the young man because he was told he's injured right now. And I met with him and I said, how you feeling about your parents' condition? He had his own story to tell me about the same representative in Toko Sandy Grande. The boy is hurt. He asked for certain things as a person representing this country, and he's hurt. But the parents are so hurt
One track mind.
that the wife said, I'm going back and vote.
So they're dying.
You only
So wait.
understand why?
So you're
They're
dying.
dying. They're dying.
You're
They're stifling.
dying.
But
You're
they're going
hungry.
back.
You're
They're
living
going
under a
back.
certain
That is what we
condition.
do.
So
Yeah.
you rather be
That is
safe.
what we do.
And sorry. But some people don't like change. Like you see the word change, it has, I don't know, it has frightened them. It has kind of put them in a certain kind of frame of mind that the change, just frighten them. You're dying, you're hungry, your tongue in your mouth long and wide, you can't even afford 3 square meal a day. But you're holding on because why? You don't know where you're going to get, you know where you have, but you ain't have nothing. So nothing from nothing, leave nothing. So then why not move out at that stage? Why not take a leap of faith and move out from this situation that you are in? Because the one that we in, we all can attest it, is everybody complaining. So you can, because you so want to be a diehard PNM, you're dying, you're drowning, you're suffering. But what? Something really wrong with us?
PNM till I die, and they physically dying, Candace.
Yeah.
PNM till I die, and they are physically dying.
And every time
So,
you come back in power and you go to the same MP to ask him for a little hamper or for a little help, he turns you down. He turns you down.
I just spoke with someone yesterday again, another lady yesterday. She been begging for work, going to Monroe, begging for work. They don't talk. She mad because the husband went and worked with the UNC in the last election, so he suffered them. But now he realized he need every vote. He personally called to say, look, I go give you a little 3-month contract. Right?
Yeah.
Now, he didn't know up to yesterday, he probably did not know that the election was going to be called in 6 weeks. So that 3-month contract has now been reduced to 6 weeks.
Well, 6
because
weeks.
Nobody knows what will happen after 6 weeks.
Yeah.
You see? So that is what he's doing to buy his votes.
Yeah.
Bribing his way into people's homes. And that is the sad reality with us.
And some of us comfortable with that, Some of us, we make ourselves so comfortable in oh my God, in stress, sadness, and sorrow. We make a home out of it. And we had to come out of this syndrome, we have to come to reality. We have to come to consciousness. Enough is enough. If the situation ain't getting any better.
Let me explain to you why it is a strategy of the People's National Movement to keep us where we are. People need land in this country, right?
Mm-hmm.
We can't afford with a salary to purchase a piece of land and pay on that loan and then have to now buy the material to put a house. Mm-hmm. So people resort to squatting.
Yeah.
And in the squatting area, the government now will come in and provide some of the infrastructure, but they can take their time to do that. So you still have thousands of residents, especially in your area, who is living, bathing with rainwater, lighting flambeaux so that the children can do their homework.
Yeah.
Totally dependent on the government to come in and offer them a license to occupy or however they call it with the land, right? Land regularization under the Land Settlement Agency. But if the government was caring for people who really want this opportunity, why don't they take that large parcel of land, put in the basic infrastructure, road, street light, water, and data, which is your internet lines.
Yeah.
take that cost of the total plot and subdivide the land, and the number of lots that you get the people who are seeking those land to pay back that cost. So you're
Yes.
not buying land at an elevated cost as though you're buying it from a private homeowner. The land belongs to the state, so the state will pay for the land. The land is free, but you can now apply a cost for ownership so that you and other people there can now have a document, a deed in their hand that they can now take to a bank or the credit union to get the money to build that house. And if not, while you pay back that small loan, you can now start buying your blocks and your steel. You can have a design of a house so that you can now build that house brick by brick. Take your time and build your mansion. Isn't that what most people did in the back there, Candice? When I
Yeah.
look at your property as a single mother, brick by brick, steel by steel, you took your time and built your castle.
Without
Right?
a grant.
But you
Right.
had
Without
to
a
wait
grant.
for
Hold on
years
there a second. Hold on.
to get regular.
We have a caller on the line. Good night, caller. Good night.
Hello, good night. I'm enjoying the program. What I wanted to say is that when I saw the minister hopping across the stage, I thought about the babies that died in the NICU. And Paho came,
Yeah, very good
Paho
point.
came, and they were very they upset that they were not interviewed. Who controlled that? Similarly, I don't agree with the movement from the Privy Council because the CCJ, somebody might control that too. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Paul.
Now, when the lady was talking
Very good
about
point. Very good point.
when the lady was talking about the one is Terrence Dial sing nice jump across the stage. You understand? He whining that
Looking like a
behavior on
fool.
stage. And the next thing is the CCG. I don't agree with that
Yeah.
neither, but it looked like the government on a rush to make the Caribbean Court of Justice the final court of appeal, the CCJ. But anyway, we're supposed to finish since 9:30, and I know Candice. I see Candice was watching the time and a watch, and and we flowing. 3 hours would have now passed. We would have gone an hour. We would have given a little bonus hour because there are a lot of people would have joined us on the live. They keep on texting. Nice program, nice program. So we give away a little more than expected today. But we are asking you to join us on Thursday again, where we will come with this
And
program. We
share
come in
the
on
plan.
Tuesdays and Thursdays. Tuesdays and
Share
Thursdays.
the plan. Share the
So,
plan.
so
Yeah.
Candice, to the 341 people that is on the live at this point in time. There was more, but at the same time, thanks for being here with us. And Candice and Alonzo, what you would like to say in your closing comment? Go first, Alonzo.
My closing comment is simply this. This country has enough evidence to know that the style of governance under the current regime will not continue to benefit the people of Trinidad and Tobago.
Exactly.
We know that nothing is good, nothing is perfect with any political organization. But what I do know is that any other party opposed to the reigning party will have a difference in their approach to governance. You could accuse them of everything you accuse them of, but they will have a different approach. And that is the only hope that we, the people, have. Change. I continue to paraphrase the words of Jesus when he said, I came unto my own, and my own received me not. So to them who receive me and understand my plight, is to them I will give the power of my vote. I want PNM people to understand when that day comes, we are all equals. Do not be afraid to look a politician in their face and said, I ain't going down that road again. You have that right to ensure the kind of governance that you believe is in the best interest of you and your family and your community. Have the courage. Only thing to fear is fear itself. They can't do you nothing because they don't know what you are deciding when you go into that ballot room. Make a decision that is in the best interest because the evidence is before you. Your children are going rogue. The blood is flowing on the street.
Yes.
Senior mothers are being kidnapped. They are being railroaded in their homes. There are home invasion. Every time you pick up the papers, innocent people are being victim of a handful of fools in this country. And so the governance structure, we have a right to determine our future. And an opportunity has come around again. In 6 weeks, another opportunity has come around. This is no time to play with your future. If you care about your children, you care about your community, have the courage to do it differently. Take a chance. There is a saying that goes, well, you know, we know what we have, we know what we go get. Well, let's convert that to say, the fact that you know what you have, take a chance with something different. And that's my closing remark. For now, I look forward to hearing from you guys on Thursday.
Candice.
Thank you very much for your contribution, Mr. Alonso. Thank you very much. And I must say your contribution is really, really vital. And we are glad on behalf of myself and the Workers' Right Platform, we staff, I should say, we are really glad to have you. And my contribution tonight is for the people of Trinidad and Tobago, and especially in the northeastern settlement area where I live. Now is the time to wake up, my brothers and sisters. Now is the time to put water in your wine and see it as it is. It's either now or never. And ask yourself this question: do I want to remain in this situation for another 5 years? Are you comfortable with your style of living? Because we all deserve the rights to live happy, comfortable, and to be able to feed our families, send our children to school, to get a proper education to better themselves. And we clearly seen that is not happening under this government. So now is the time. Now is the time, my brothers and sisters, to wake up. Don't wait until night time to get a touchlight to see or a flambeau. You're seeing it in big. They're telling you, they're insulting you. They're coming at the nick of time to bribe you. We fed up of the lies, we fed up of the bribes, we fed up of the neglect. So all you wake up, please now. Wake up, please. Wake up and smell the roses. That is my contribution.
Well, to you, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, there you have it. This is one of the most powerful shows right about now on the airways, and I ain't saying that just for talking. There are people that feel the same way as us, like-minded people. We urge you to call in. Call in. Join us here on our program, a live program here with us to be a part of the panel. Join us here. Send your requests on 333-2176 and join us live. You might have something to say, something that is going on within your area, something that you would like to highlight. We are here. This is the Justice Advocates program, and by extension, we are on the Workers' Rights Platform. This here is a movement, and we will not be deterred by some of these foolish statements that it have on the chat. So I trust what I'm telling you. There are some that is paid to distract, and we urge you with the plethora of information that was just divulged to you. Take cognizance of what is going on and vote in the correct and the right way. My name is Wellison Jeffrey. This is the Workers' Rights Platform, and I am out. Thank you very much.
Have a pleasant good night, guys.
Thank you.